Today we're taking a look at all the unboxings over the past year. Let's go ahead and dive in. Today we're taking a look at the Bank and Creek Bait School subscription service. Let's go ahead and dive in. Okay, so if you're not familiar with the Bait School Bank and Creek sack from lurenet.com, LureNet owns brands like Rebel and Booyah, and they put together a bundle like this. I think it's every 2 months they ship one out. And this is the first time I've gotten this. I'm not really 100% sure what to expect from it. These are all brands I've heard of. They're not necessarily brands I have gone out and purchased much recently anyway, but they're all pretty well-known brands. But let's go ahead and get this thing open. All right, so to start off, since this is in a package that I can't reseal, I'm gonna leave it in here. But this is the Bandit Lures 200, and they just call it the BDT 200. It's in root beer. And it's just looks like a pretty basic crankbait. And this one dives 4 to 8 feet. I mean, without taking out the package, I don't have a whole lot I can say about it, but from what I can see of it, it looks pretty nice. And these are all brands I've heard of. I haven't used them or purchased them in a long time. But again, that's the BDT 200 in root beer. All right, so next we have a Rebel teeny wee crawfish. And this is a little crankbait also. And this particular one's in Texas Red. It doesn't say how deep it dives, but as small as that is, I would imagine it's not super deep. I could see that getting hit by some like smaller bass or even some large bluegill or anything. But again, that's the Rebel teeny wee crawfish in Texas Red. All right, next thing we have here is the Rebel Track Down Ghost. And this looks like a little jerkbait. There we go. And that one's in Tennessee Shad. Again, it's hard to really get my hands on these without tearing up the packaging, which I don't want to do because I can't put it up on my bait wall. But it looks pretty nice. I mean, the paint job looks good. The hooks look sharp. And it looks pretty solid. But yeah, that's the Rebel Track Down Ghost in Tennessee Shad. All right, so the next thing we have here is the Booyah Bait Company One Knocker. I mean, this is the 1/4 ounce size, and it's in Ghost. And this is just a pretty standard looking lipless crankbait. I do like that color. It looks pretty natural to me. And I actually really like the 1/4 ounce weight. That's usually one of my go-to weights for a lot of lures. But yeah, that's the Booyah Baits One Knocker in Ghost. Okay, so the next thing we got here, we have another Booyah Bait Company. I don't know what the name of this particular spinnerbait is, but it's the Covert series. And it has Hildebrandt spinners on it. And this is a 3/8 ounce. And it's an arsonist. This color ought to do pretty well this spring. I'm sure this is meant to mimic crawfish. But yeah, I think it looks pretty good. Again, it's hard to tell without opening this package. I don't know how well it shows up, but it does have a rubber banded skirt. I prefer to see hand tied, but I guess the advantage of that is you can easily swap it out if you want to. I don't see any kind of bait keeper on there, which I'm kind of surprised. Anyway, yeah, that's the Booyah Bait Company Covert Series spinnerbait and arsonist. All right, so the next thing we have here is the Rebel Shore Shiner. These are soft plastics from Rebel, which I actually did not know Rebel made soft plastics. And it's in color Smalley. And you actually have a couple there that are pre-rigged, and then 4 spare ones. Yeah, these look pretty nice. I think I can open this without damaging the package too much. Again, that's the Rebel Shore Shiner in Smalley. And this is the pre-rigged one. It actually has a football jig, or it sort of looks like a football jig. Plastic seems pretty nice. It says extreme flex and durability. So Oh yeah, it's definitely very similar to like the Z-Man material. So I bet that would do really well with some larger panfish and even some smaller bass fishing ultralight. But yeah, I actually like those. Again, I didn't know Rebel made soft plastic, so it was kind of interesting to get those. But again, that's the Rebel Shore Shiner and Smalley. So what do you think about the new set? If you want to see a kind of behind the scenes, a little bit making of, and a little more detail about the set, let me know in the comments, and maybe we can do one of those videos in the future. All right, so next thing we have here, we have another pack of Rebel soft plastics, and these are the Rebel Creek Crawl, and these are in Texas Red, and they are little crawfish imitations. And again, we get 2 pre-rigged ones here and an extra hook, and then 4 additional. These remind me quite a bit of the Z-Man crawls, I believe is what they call them, which I really like those for Ned rigging, which essentially, I guess, is what they've kind of got going here, even though it's kind of more of a football jig. But let's get one of these out real quick. Again, that's the Rebel Creek Crawls in Texas Red. These look pretty nice. I really think they would do better with an actual Ned rig, because I don't know how well it shows up here, but the end of it's kind of almost looks a little more blunt, and I think a full-size Ned head would actually work a little bit better on there. I'd definitely be willing to give these a try. And again, they're that Z-Man Escalaz type material. So the next item here, we have War Eagle Heavy Finesse Jig. And this is a 3/8 ounce size, and it's actually a 2-pack. And it looks like it's Phantom Brown Crawl. I've never actually used any War Eagle products. I think it's the Aggressively Average Anglers that have talked about these before. If not them, it was Debo. But I think they more so use their spinner baits. Again, that's the War Eagle Heavy Finesse Jig in Phantom Brown Crawl. I feel like these are pretty nice. I don't really have anything bad to say about them. Again, it is a rubber banded skirt, but changing them out, that should make it a lot easier. If you ever get to the point you have to change it out. But yeah, I'm actually pretty happy with that one. All right, so the last item, well, actually, take it back. I've got a card, and you can scan that QR code for some tips and tricks on these lures. They've got a Rebel Live Flex sticker, and they throw in a Bank and Creek sticker. So the last lure in this bag is a pack of Yum Crawl Chunks and Arsonist. Let's see. I'm definitely familiar with Yum products. Oh, and they've got the packaging that you can't open. Again, that's the Yum Crawl Chunks and Arsonist. These probably would do really well in the spring. I'm actually a little surprised they put them in a January and February bag, but I guess maybe they're trying to get you prepped for spring ahead of time. I like these. I've used Yum products in the past, but it's been a while. So I've actually got one more item that's not part of the Bank and Creek Bait School bag. I don't know if I've ever mentioned on the channel, but I'm actually on the pro staff for 6 Gill Fishing Products, and they just released a new rod this I think at the beginning of January. I was actually finally able to get hold of it a week ago or so. So I've got that. I was going to show that real quick. Okay, so this is a new 6 Gill Tataris. And this particular one that I have is a 7-foot medium heavy, moderate fast. This rod actually replaced the Achilles rods, which actually is one of my favorite 6 Gill rods. So really good all-around rod. So one of the new things about this over the Achilles is the split carbon grip. They used to have wind grip on the other, on the Achilles. The carbon grip is actually supposed to increase the sensitivity and feel, so you should be able to feel even lighter bites with this one over the old Achilles style handles. But overall, it's supposed to be more sensitive, so you can feel bites just in general more so than the Achilles was. Which to me, the Achilles is amazingly sensitive, so I'm really looking forward to getting this on the water, because I think this is going to blow it away. They actually also gave some of these rods to the guides down in Texas, where 6 Kill is based, and they put them to the test for 6 days a week for I don't even know how long, but they did a lot of testing with them to try to make sure they got good feedback and got the rod perfect. Yeah. Anyway, I'm not sponsored by 6 Kill. I am on the pro staff, and I do have an affiliate link. If you want to go down in the description, you can see my affiliate link there. I think this rod's excluded, but my discount code or affiliate link will actually get you 40% off pretty much everything on their website. But yeah, I'm looking forward to getting this on the water. Should have a trip coming up pretty soon that this is definitely gonna be my go-to rod. I have a 6 Kill Dreadnought that I'm gonna stick on here. It is a 3000 size, which might be a little bit bigger than I really need, but I'd rather have that slightly larger reel and have plenty of line on it, especially when I go saltwater fishing, since that's what I do the most. So yeah. What'd you think about the rod? What'd you think about the Banking Creek Bait School bag? Let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed the video, make sure you give it a like. And if you want to see more videos like this in the future, make sure you're subscribed. Today, we're going over the March 2025 6 cents 6 sack. Let's go ahead and dive in. All right, so this month we've got a black sack with white stitching. I feel like this is the most common color, and it's been a while since I've gotten a 6 cent sack. Maybe it's just what they do around this time of year. I don't know, but let's go ahead and see what's in here. And I apologize if my voice is off. I'm at the tail end of a cold and just finally starting to feel better. All right, so the first thing we have in here is the Busa Ned 3.3, and this is in green pumpkin. Kind of looks like a, well, I guess it's got to be a Ned rig bait. Okay, so yes, little stick bait, obviously meant for Ned rigging. Got ribbing on it, and a little bit of a, I guess you can say, bulbous tail. It feels like typical 6 cents plastic, so it's not going to be the most durable thing like Z-Man products are, but I mean it's 6 cents, so we know it's quality. But again, that's the Busa Ned 3.3 in green pumpkin. Yeah, I think that's pretty good. I'm definitely interested to give these a try. I really like to use Ned rigs, so this definitely be something I would use. Yeah, that's pretty good. All right, so the next thing we have in here, we have a pack of Bodega 6.5 in green pumpkin blue. And those definitely look like a type of creature bait. Let's see here. Oh wow, these are much bigger than I thought they were. So yeah, it's a green pumpkin plastic, typical green pumpkin, green plastic with black flakes, but it also has a light blue flake in there. But these look like they'd be interesting. They're big. Yes, it's a big lure. Other than my last bass fishing trip where I caught my new PB, which I'll link the video right up here. I don't know if there's anything around here really that could eat something this big. I mean, it seems nice and all, but maybe it would work. Maybe these appendages are not really what the bass is going to focus on. Maybe it's going to focus on the body, but anyway, that's the Bodega 6.5 in green pumpkin. Yeah, I mean, it's a nice plastic. I like it, but again, it's just so big. But I'll definitely give it a try. I mean, I now know where a nearly 9-pound fish is that easily could eat this. So worth seeing if it will munch on this. All right, so the next item we have here is a pack of hooks, and it's actually not a sample pack, which is always nice to see, but it's a pack of their jugular hybrid hooks, and this is the 4/0 size. So these should go pretty well with the Bodega 6.5s. The only thing we need, of course, is a weight, because I don't know that these are really, well, I guess you could throw those weightless. They might be heavy enough to throw weightless. But yeah, it's nice to see they actually put some hooks in here that go with a soft plastic. That's nice. All right, next thing we have here is a pack of the Ox flipping hooks. And again, that's a full pack, as usual, from 6 cents. And it's in the 4/0 size. I don't know why these are in here. Of course, I haven't gone through the whole bag yet, so then maybe there's something that these will go with. I guess these could go with the Bodegas. They're flipping hooks, so I guess you could throw a flipping weight on there and put one of those Bodegas on here. Just isn't the way I would probably fish them personally. I would probably Texas rig them, or maybe even put them like on a jig as a trailer. But yeah, I mean, it's still nice to see some hooks and it being a full-size pack. All right, so next thing we have in here just so happens to be a jig. It's their Axle Hybrid jig. And of course, it's in green pumpkin black. So that would go really well with the Bodegas. And this is actually a 5/0 size hook on this one. Let's see if we can get this thing out of here. Okay. I hadn't actually seen the Axle Hybrid hook jig. I don't know if this is a new item or just I haven't seen it, but the hook is actually on it's got a I don't know how to describe it, a little, I guess, axle. So the hook, if you see this, actually can go like swing down on the head. It also has a little screw lock mechanism on it too, so that will keep your bait in place. I don't know the exact idea behind having that swinging hook. I guess maybe it can reduce the amount of pressure the fish can put on the hook and make it less likely you can pop it out of its mouth. I'm not really sure, but it seems to be a nice jig. Again, that's the Axle Hybrid jig in green pumpkin black. Yeah, I'll definitely give this a try. My PB bass, I caught it on a jig and a creature bait from Deep Creek Lures. But this will be interesting to try this too. Yeah, I like that. All right, so next thing we have in here is a pack of the Bambusa 5.3 ribbed stickworms. And these are in blood apple. So yeah, these look like they're pretty much a standard stickworm, but they're just ribbed instead of being solid. The blood apple color is interesting. It's kind of, it's red, but it almost has a little bit of a purple hue to it, which might be because of the flake. There's definitely like, I can't tell if it's gold or like a light or lime green flake in there, and then a blue flake. But yeah, these seem pretty nice. that might explain what the flipping hooks are for, maybe. Unless they intend for you to use the hybrid hooks for these and Texas rig them, and use the flipping hooks for the bodegas. But I mean, again, it seems to be nice plastic, and I mean, I would give them a try. And stick baits aren't necessarily a lure that I use often or really much, but it is a type of lure that I want to get a little more comfortable with, because I know they supposedly work really well. But again, that's the Bambusa 5.3 in Blood Apple. All right, so next thing we have in here is a Swank 66X. This dives 2 to 5 feet and is half an ounce. And the color is Shad Surge. So reading the back of the package, they're saying that this L-shaped bill is supposed to make it easier to rip it out of the grass if you get caught in grass. And it also apparently creates a unique hunting action, so they say. So it has a loud knocker, rattle, and BBs in it. I can definitely tell there's one big knocker in here and some smaller stuff. So that sounds like. Yeah, it definitely makes an interesting noise compared to most crankbaits. And those extra rattles and BBs and the one big knocker too. It looks nice. Nice sharp hooks. Paint job's great, which 6 cents. I've never seen a bad paint job from them. Again, that's the Swank 66X in Shad Surge. Yeah, I'll be interested to give this a try. Not a huge hardbait person. No, I've got a ton of them, but I don't tend to go towards those. I usually go for soft plastics first. We'll be interested to see what this one does, because this is unique. I mean, that bill's unique and the sound's unique. Yeah, that's pretty good. All right, so the last thing in the sack is a Provoke 97 DDSI Silent Deep Diver Premier Jerkbait. And this is in Live Gizzard Flash. I've never used a Provoke. I'm not really a huge jerkbait user, but it looks nice. And this one dives 4 to 8 feet and it's half an ounce. All right, that paint job. It just looks great. I mean, look at that. It's just crazy. But yeah, it looks really nice. Again, I'm not a huge jerkbait user. I'm pretty sure this is the most expensive lure in this sack by quite a bit. I've never priced these, but I feel like I've heard these are pretty pricey. Okay, so yeah, they're about $15 a piece, which to me is crazy for a jerkbait. I'm sure it's not by any means the most expensive jerkbait out there, but that's still way more than I would want to spend on a jerkbait. Again, that's the Provoke 97 DDSI Silent Deep Diver. Yeah, I would definitely give it a try. It would have to blow me away to make me want to buy another one of these, just because they are pretty pricey. But I definitely give it a try. It looks nice. I could definitely see it catching fish. But yeah. All right, so what did you think about this March 6 cents 6-sack? Let us know down in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you give it a like. And if you want to see more content like this in the future, make sure you're subscribed. Today, we're taking a look at my very first order from Tackle Warehouse. let's go ahead and dive in. Okay, so there's actually 2 boxes here. It was one order, but for some reason they split it up in 2 smaller boxes. I don't really know why they did that, but yeah, I grabbed a few things that were on sale that I thought were interesting, including some jigs. So I actually placed this order right after I got back from one of my most recent bass fishing trips. It happens to be the video where I caught my biggest bass ever, and I'll leave a link to the video right here. But after having success with jigs on that trip, I was like, I want to get some more of these jigs that are similar in color and weight and everything. And it just so happened that Tackle Warehouse happened to have them on sale. So, but anyway, let's go ahead and take a look. All right, so the first thing I got a Tackle Warehouse sticker. If I can stick one on my, either my cooler or maybe on my kayak. I haven't decided just yet, but at least on my cooler. So, I got some of these Savage Gear 3D crayfish, and this is their 5-inch half-ounce floating model, and that is in black and blue. I've gotten some Savage Gear in the past, but I've never gotten these before, so I wanted to check these out. Again, that's the Savage Gear 3D Crawl in black and blue. These things are... They had to have taken a mold of an actual crayfish, crawfish, whatever you want to call it, because it legit feels like I've got a crawfish in my hand. They're kind of big, but then again, that pond that I fished at where I caught my biggest bass, I think there's plenty of fish in there that could easily eat this. But it seems pretty nice. The mold looks nice. Kind of feels like the inside might be hollow because it is floating, so it may be hollow on the inside just to give it a good air bubble so it'll float. But yeah, so that's the Savage Gear 3D Crawl. So I got a couple more packs of these. This one is in sprayed grass. So there is a 3D Crawl in sprayed grass. All right, I got a 4-inch version. So these are actually only 1/3 of an ounce, and that one's in Summer Crawl. There's a 3D crayfish in Summer Crawl. And it does say on the package they use a 3D scan to get the model. So that's why they look so realistic. One more pack, and it is in peanut butter jelly. And there's a 3D crayfish and peanut butter jelly. This is definitely interesting. I'm real curious to give this a try, especially in a pond or a river somewhere where I know there's some big bass. All right, the next thing I've got is a Berkeley flipping jig. This is a 1/2 ounce size. It's got a 5/0 hook on it, and this is Bama Bug. And I'm not going to take that out of the package just because I would have to rip the package apart. Without pulling it out, it looks pretty nice. Can't tell for sure, but it looks like it might be a rubber banded skirt. Kind of looks like there's a band in there. It does say the skirts are made of silicone, which maybe that would mean they'll hold up a little bit better than some other skirts do. It does look like thinner material than normal, so that might be a trade-off you get there, that the durability might be about the same, but it's thinner skirt, so it kind of moves in the water a little bit easier. I don't know. I found that I really like green pumpkin purple color lures and jigs, so I wanted to make sure I got hold of some more jigs, and these happen to be some of the stuff that was on sale. All right, so the next thing we got here, we have an Outcast RTX jig in 3/8 ounce, and this one is in Mud Puppy. I'm not really familiar with Outcast jigs. I feel like I've heard some good things about them, but I've never used one. And they had quite a few of these that were on sale, so I grabbed a few different colors. Again, that's the Outcast Jigs RTX jig in Mud Puppy. Again, I've never used these before. Brush guard seems to be decently stiff. Hook's pretty sharp. It does say it has VMC hooks on it, so pretty good hooks. The skirt does have a rubber band on it, so it's not a hand-tied skirt. Which, I mean, hand-tied definitely is nicer, but having the skirt like this, it makes it replaceable. Oh, and I actually forgot, these actually have rattles built into them. kind of interesting. They've got the space for 2 rattles, but there's only 1 rattle there. So not really sure why there's an extra hole. Maybe they only come with 1 normally. But here's what the jig sounds like. Yeah, I think these are pretty nice. All right, so we have one more of the Outcast RTX jigs. This one's actually an Outcast Candy. It is a little bit smaller. It's 1/2 ounce instead of a 3/8 ounce. Okay, so yeah, it does have the ability to add an additional rattle. So that's kind of nice that they give you that space to add another one, and they include just one with it. Again, that's the Outcast jigs, RTX jig, and Outcast Candy. This one's definitely a little bit more of a almost bluegill color with some purple, but I could definitely see this one working really well. When I caught my biggest bass, it was on a peanut butter and jelly jig, but it was on a super brim colored junior razor beetle from Deep Creek Lures. And this has a very similar vibe to it, to that super brim color. There's definitely a lot more purple in this than what that particular lure has in it, but I felt like this probably would go with that particular color a lot better than just a regular peanut butter and jelly. So that's why I wanted to grab this one. All right, so going through looking for that other Outcast jig, I realized there was a second Berkeley flipping jig. This one's a 3/8 ounce instead of the 1/2 ounce, and it's also in the Bama Bug color. I just wanted to make sure I had a few different sizes that I could tie on the heavier jig and get down deeper if I need to. All right, so next item, got a pack of the Z-Man TRD crawls in green pumpkin chartreuse. These are one of my favorite Ned rig baits. I've probably had the most success with these of any other Ned rig bait. This is a color I've never gotten before, but I wanted to check it out. I believe it's the Aggressively Average Anglers right here on YouTube. They love this color. Granted, they're up in Michigan, so it may work better for them up there because they've got a lot of smallmouth. I don't know that there's any smallmouth in this area. There very well could be. I've never seen them, never really heard anybody talk about catching them, but I think this could work really well. The green pumpkin's good anyway, and you get a little bit of chartreuse, and it just fish can see it better. But again, that's the Z-Man TRD crawls in green pumpkin chartreuse. And if you're not familiar with Z-Man products, they're great. They hold up really well. You just have to make sure you don't mix them with other plastics. That material they use can interact with the other plastics and cause stuff to start melting. So you don't want to mix them into plastics. You always want to keep them in their original packaging. All right, so the next thing we've got here, I ended up grabbing, I think it's 3 of the Callan's Rattling Google Eye Poppin' Frogs. I never used these frogs before, but they were relatively cheap, and I feel like I've heard pretty good things about these. I really want to try to fish some frogs this spring, and the couple times I've used like the Guggen frogs, they haven't performed the way I wanted them to. So I wanted to get something that I felt like was a little bit nicer, and I do like that these have rattles in them too. Again, that's the Callan's Google Eye Poppin' Frog, and this one's in Nooner. It's interesting, oh, I see what they've done. So I don't know that it'll show up on camera, but there is, the eyes look like glass, and the rattle is actually inside of that eye. There's a chamber that goes back and forth between the 2 eyes. So there's one BB in there that goes back and forth and hits the glass eye. So that's interesting. The body gets out of the way of the hooks pretty well. Yeah, I'm definitely interested to give this a try. I think these might be pretty good frogs. And this is the Callan's Google Eye Poppin' Frog and Blood Diamond. And this is the Callan's Google Eye Poppin' Frog and Dud Dipper. Yeah, I'll have to get on the water early one morning and see if I can get some topwater blow-ups on one of these. I think that would be really fun. If you want to help support the channel, we've got brand new merch in the store with the new purple outline version of the NC Fishing logo. It includes Under Armour shirts like this and also Champion now. And you can get those at ncfishing.store. All right, so the next thing in here is my only hard bait. I grabbed a 6 cents Curve Finesse Square Bill. This is a 3/8 ounce weight, and it dives 1 to 3 feet, and it is in boiled crawfish. I like 6 Sense products a lot, and I wanted to grab a new square bill for spring bass fishing, specifically one that's kind of a crawfish color. And again, it was also on sale, much cheaper than even what 6 Sense was selling, if I'm not mistaken. Again, that's a 6 Sense curved finesse square bill and boiled crawl. And as usual, great quality on the paint job. Hooks are sharp. Everything looks great. I mean, it's 6 Sense. I mean, you can't go wrong with it. And speaking of 6 Sense, if you click here, you can check out my last 6 Sense unboxing. That's something I've picked back up, and we're doing those monthly for a while. All right, so the next thing we have in here is a Spro Swimbait Shad 40. This is the slow sinking model, and it's in Killer Gill. I decided to grab this. I really want to try to get into some swim bait fishing, and this was actually a really good price. So I figured it'd be a good entry level swim bait since the price is pretty good. Again, that's the Spro Swimbait Shad 40 in Killer Gill. It looks pretty good. The only odd thing is I don't know why there seems to be a piece of green fishing braid sticking out right there. I don't know if it's supposed to be there or if it was a manufacturing mistake. It does have a rattle in it. The hooks are sharp. The paint looks really good on it. And the tail, even though it's a harder material, it is flexible. But yeah, it looks pretty good to me. So I don't know what that line is that's sticking out here. Maybe it's something to do with the way they attach that top fin, and they didn't cut it off, but that's really not that big of a deal. But yeah, I definitely want to give this a try. Swim baits are one of those things that I haven't really gotten into just because they're so expensive, but I definitely want to give this one a try. Okay, so there's 2 items left in the box. These are both Japanese lures that I've been wanting to get a hold of for a while. One's sort of as a joke kind of bait, even though supposedly they work great. The other one's a real popular one. So the joke bait would be the Depths Cover Scat. And this one I got is, they don't list the color on here, and I don't remember what the color was called. And I'm not going to open these because it requires tearing the package. But I've heard good things about these, even though they look kind of ridiculous. So I wanted to grab some and just give them a try. I mean, again, they were on sale. Still expensive for soft plastics, but cheaper than what they normally are. So I had to get some so I can give these a try. All right, so the last lure, if you haven't already guessed, is the Megabass Dark Sleeper. And this one is in haze. Again, I'm not going to open it because I don't want to damage the packaging, but I've heard good things about these. I know they apparently are notorious for not lasting very long, especially for their price, but I've heard so many good things about them. I really wanted to give one a try. If it doesn't last very long, I just won't buy any more. If it does give me a good amount of time out of it, well, I might grab some more. I know Z-Man actually makes their own version of this now, and it's made out of their Elastec material, so it ought to last longer than this, and I think you get multiple of them for what this one costs. I'll have to look into that a little bit more, but if that's the case, and I like this, I'll probably start just buying the Z-Man ones. But yeah, so I'm excited to give it a try. Like I said, I've heard good things, but definitely have to give this a try soon. All right, so what'd you think about this haul? I feel like I got some pretty good stuff. I mean, of course, let me know in the comments what you think. Is there anything here that you wouldn't want to use? Is there anything in here that you would really like to use? And don't forget, if you want to help support the channel, the best way to do it is to buy some of our merch at encfishing.store. And there'll also be a link down in the description. Anyway, if you enjoyed the video, make sure you give it a like. And if you want to see more content like this in the future, make sure you're subscribed. Today, we're going over the March 2025 6 Sense 6-sack. Let's go ahead and dive in. Okay, so if you saw my video from last month, I mistakenly posted the last sack as the March sack. I had a commenter actually let me know that I was wrong about that, so I've gone back and corrected the video title and thumbnail, but this is actually the March sack, so let's go ahead and take a look at it. All right, First thing we have is we have a pack of the stout wide gap hooks in 4/0. And this is just a standard wide gap hook. Yeah, that's the stout wide gap hook. Not a whole lot to say. Good sharp hooks. They give you a full pack, so no complaints here. So the next thing we have, oh, they actually threw in a 6 cents koozie, which is kind of cool. I don't think I have any 6 cents koozies, but it'd be good to keep drinks cold next time I go on a fishing trip. So the next thing we've got here, we have a pack of the 6 cents crappie jig heads. And these are 1/16 ounce, and they're size number 4 hook. I'm not really familiar with their crappie or crappie, however you like to say it, lures and terminal tackle. I know they're relatively new, if I'm not mistaken. But again, that's the 6 cents crappie jig heads, and they are actually in baby shad. They look pretty nice. Probably the only time I can say I've seen a little bit of a flaw in one of the 6 cents items. I don't know how well it will show up, but right along the eye, there's a weird kind of like, I don't know, part where the glue is sticking up or something. I don't know how well that shows up. Other than that, they look really nice. I'll be interested to see how these do. I've actually discovered somewhat recently that I enjoy ultralight fishing, so these would be great for that. So the next thing we have the clobber minnow, and these are an exclusive color, and it doesn't say the name of the color, but I guarantee these will go with those jig heads perfectly. Again, that's the clobber minnow. It's kind of hard to hold it and show the whole thing. But they look pretty nice. I could see these working really well for crappie, or even just any panfish in general, because these are small enough that a bluegill brim could grab hold of them. I wish I knew what the name of the color was, like if they had like where you could buy it, because I like the color, but I guess this is an exclusive. You can only get it in the sack for this month, and I guess won't be able to buy it unless they decide to release it later on. But yeah, I like those. Those are pretty nice. So the next thing we have are the ridge lizard and green pumpkin juice. And these pretty much look like essentially a standard lizard lure. Tail's a little bit different. Most of the time you see a lure that's lizard shaped, the tail's more of a curly tail, but I guess this might be actually a little bit more realistic. But it's a green pumpkin color, but it's also got some blue and green and red flake in it in addition to the black. They look pretty nice. But again, that's the ridge lizard and green pumpkin juice. So the next thing we have are the Panorama 3.5. And these are in Ghost Pro Shad. And these, I don't believe I've gotten any of these before. So the next thing we have are the Panorama 3.5. And these are in Ghost Pro Shad. And these, I don't believe I've gotten any of these before. I think I happened to stop getting the sack right about the time these came out. I'm interested to see how they work, because if I'm not mistaken, these are really meant for forward-facing sonar, which I don't use because all I have is a kayak and I don't have any kind of fish finders on there. I can see these working pretty well. Also, April's Autism Awareness Month. So if you want to help support a great autism awareness charity, go down in the description and you can check out Autism Anglers. They're one of my favorite autism charities, and I usually try to at least buy some stuff from them here and there and donate when I can. Again, that's the Panorama and Ghost Pro Shad. Yeah, these are nice. They're super thin, like incredibly thin. But yeah, I'd be interested to give these a try. It'd be interesting to see how well they work not using the forward-facing sonar, but definitely throw them on at some point and give them a try. All right, so the next thing we have in here, we have a Provoke 106 SDD. This is a silent deep diver version of the Provoke, and it dives 4 to 7 feet, and it's 5/8 of an ounce. I'm not huge on jerk baits, but this looks really nice. I really probably should try some jerk baits more often. I know they can do really well, especially in cold temperatures. And this might be the one I have to try out first. It's pretty nice. Again, it's silent, so no rattle. Great paint job as usual. Yeah, well, I think that's pretty good. Again, that is the Provoke 106 SDD Deep Diver Silent in Pro Blue scales. Yeah, it looks pretty good. I'm gonna have to give that a try. All right, so the next thing we have in here, we have a Curve 55. This is a crankbait that dives 5 to 9 feet, and it's 3/8 of an ounce, and it's in Spanish bone. Yeah, this one's pretty nice. I do like the Spanish bone colors. It's like a classic bone with just a hint of chartreuse to it almost. It definitely has knocker in it. Yeah, it looks pretty good. I'm not a huge just standard crankbait user. I know they can really produce some fish. I don't know, I just tend to go towards soft plastics more often than hard baits. But yeah, it's another one I'd like to give a try at some point. But again, that's the Curve 55 in Spanish bone. Yeah, I'll definitely have to give that a try at some point. All right, and the last item in here is the Crush 50X, and this one is in Lava Truce. So this one's actually a square bill. These I've used square bills a little more so than just a standard crankbait. Lipless is my usual go-to for crankbait, but square bills are usually my next option. Yeah, I like the colors on this. This is pretty much a crawfish imitation. The yellow is a little bit different than what I'm used to seeing for crawfish, but I could see that drawing some extra attention to it. And of course, nice sharp hooks. And it has some knockers in it. Sounds like a few of them. But yeah, this is definitely something I would throw this spring for some bass that are looking for some crawfish. Again, that's the Crush 50X in Lava Truce. Yeah, I'm gonna have to definitely throw this before it gets too warm. I think that'd do really well for some spring bass. All right, so what do you think about the March sack? Let me know down in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you give it a like. And if you want to see more content like this in the future, make sure you're subscribed. Today, we're taking a look at the March and April Bait School Banking Creek sack. Let's go ahead and dive in. All right, so this again is the Bait School Banking Creek sack for March and April. As typical with their sacks or bags, they come in a bag. And these bags aren't the best I've ever seen, but it's still kind of nice to get them, because I mean you can definitely throw some stuff in here and go to the lake or the pond or river, or creek, whatever, and use it to carry some stuff for a day or two, easy. All right, so the first thing we got here, we have some Eagle Claw laser sharp hooks. These are wide gap worm hooks, and they're 2/0 size. We have another pack of Eagle Claw laser sharp hooks These are drop shot hooks, and they're size 2. That's a 10 count. Let's see, we have a pack of Great Lakes Finesse 1/4 ounce. These are jig heads. I'm not sure exactly what the name of these are, but there's some sort of swim jig heads, and they're matte green pumpkin. They also use Gamakatsu hooks. Again, that's the Great Lakes swim jig heads in matte green pumpkin. Those look pretty nice. Definitely over a smaller bait, and those hooks are sharp, which kind of expect from a Gamakatsu. All right, so the next thing we have is a finesse jig of some sort, also a matte green pumpkin, and it uses Gamakatsu hooks also. That is a tiny jig, and again, it's from Great Lakes also. Again, that's the Great Lakes finesse jig in matte green pumpkin. It looks like these are actually held on with a wire. It ought to hold up a little bit better than a rubber banded skirt though. I like that. It's small, but I can see it working for some like crappie or any panfish really. All right, so the next thing we have here is a pack of drop shot weights from Bullet Weights, and these are 3/16 of an ounce. So they're just pretty much a standard drop shot weight. I'm not gonna take them out of the package just because I have to tear the sticker on it. All right, next thing we have here is a pack of Bullet Weights. And these are actually worm weights. And they're 1/4 ounce, and there's 10 of them in there. And these are just standard lead worm weights. Nothing really out of the ordinary about them, but it's good to have. I'm glad to see they put weights and hooks in here that go together, and it looks like there's plenty of soft plastic to go with these. All right, so the next item we have is a Booyah Bait Company Pond Magic spinnerbait, and this is a 3/16 ounce weight, and it is in shad. It definitely looks more like a finesse spinnerbait, which that can definitely be good for at a creek like this is kind of meant for. But again, I don't want to take this out of the package just because I can't hang it up on my rack until I use it. But looking at the package, it looks nice. Definitely give this a try. So next thing we have here is a pack of Yum Baby Christie Critters, and they are in Midnight Orchid. I've heard a bunch of things about these. I've never used them. Oh, all right. Well, I'm gonna open these. I've never used them before, but I've heard good things. I like that color. Purple and then black with looks like silver flake and blue flake in the purple. Again, that's the Yum Baby Christie Critter in Midnight Orchid. Yeah, I can definitely see these working pretty well. Again, we've got the hooks and the weights. I really like seeing that in sacks or boxes. I always hate it when they just throw some random stuff in a box and send it to you. It's nice that these are actually thought out. All right, so the next thing we have is a pack of Yum Crawl Poppies and Chartermelon. These definitely look like a watermelon chartreuse color combo. It's definitely different than I've seen before. So yeah, these are just a little crawfish imitation. It's interesting, the head's actually hollow. I wonder if it's designed so you can put a rattle in there. I don't know if you can kind of see the opening there. But these look nice. I will say every one of these Yum baits so far has had a lot of liquid on it. I guess it's to keep them in good shape. And I don't know that it really has much of a smell, but maybe it's just something I don't really notice. Again, that's the Crawl Poppy and Chartermelon. Yeah, I can see these doing pretty well. These could actually work as a Ned rig too, I would think. They say you can Texas rig them, jig trailer, jig head, Carolina rig them, or drop shot them. But I would be willing to bet these could work as a Ned bait too. I just don't know if the claws would float, and that might be the only problem. So the next item we have is a pack of Yum Dingers and natural bass. I have not used these. I've heard a lot of good things about them. Stick baits aren't really one of my go-to soft plastics, but I know these are supposed to be one of the better ones. Just again, I've never used them. But yeah, I've never used them. They seem nice. I definitely would give them a try. I mean, I've got them now. I've got the weights for them and the hooks for them. So it makes sense to give them a try now. But I like them. It's nice to have a little slot right there for the hook. Again, that's the Yum Dinger and natural bass. Yeah, I definitely give those a try. So far, this is my second Bank & Creek bag, and I've been pretty impressed with them. They are definitely meant for a little bit smaller fish, but that's, I mean, I'm always happy catching a small fish. Catching a fish is catching a fish to me. So, I mean, yes, a big fish is nice. I love catching big fish, but if I'm catching fish, I'm usually pretty happy. So the next thing we have is a pack of Great Lakes Finesse drop shot minnows, and they apparently are in matte 309. Looks kind of like a baby bass color, and these are actually powered by Yum, so they must use the same juice that the Yum baits use. Okay, these definitely have a lot of salt on them too. So these are probably going to be pretty heavy. That tail feels heavy, as small as it is. Those seem pretty nice. Yeah, again, drop shot's not something I'm super familiar with, but I could definitely see using these and them working pretty well. Again, that's the Great Lakes Finesse drop minnow in matte 309. Yeah, something like this is going to probably encourage me to try drop shot. Again, it's not a technique I've used before, but I definitely would be interested in trying these. All right, so the last bait in here is a pack of the Yum Pulse in OG Bass. And these look like a pretty just straightforward paddle tail. I really hate the packs that are like this where you have to tear them to get into the lures. I like to put them up on a rack, so I've got a little pegboard area on my kayak rack that I hang my lures. I mean, this is a pretty simple paddle tail. It is interesting, it's got these little ridges on it, so I wonder if that makes the action just a bit different than a typical paddle tail. But yeah, I would definitely give those a try too. They could actually go well as a trailer on that spinnerbait. But again, that's the Yum Pulse in OG Bass. All right, the last couple things we've got in here. We've got a Bank & Creek sticker. And then we have this Great Lakes Finesse sticker, which I don't know how well it'll show up on camera since it's white on white, but there it is. And last but not least, they have a card in here with a QR code for some videos, tips, and tricks. So feel free to scan that if you'd like. And if you want to, first come, first serve, there's a 15% off code on here. All right, so what'd you think about the March and April Bank & Creek Bait School Sack? I was pretty happy with it. Again, it's only my second one. So far, I've been completely happy with them. But anyway, let us know what you think down in the comments. If you like the video, make sure you give it a like. And if you want to see more content like this in the future, make sure you're subscribed. Today, we're taking a look at the April 6 cents six sack. Let's go ahead and dive in. All right, so let's go ahead and dive in here. Got another black sack. I think that's 3 months in a row we've got the black sack. I mean, I'm not mad at it, but I would like to see a little variety of colors. All right, so the first thing we have, we have a pack of their Divine swim bait jig heads. These are the 7/16 ounce, and they are 3/0 hooks, and they are in baby shad. Again, that's the Divine swim bait jig heads in baby shad. These are always nice to get. I haven't used them yet, but I do like them a lot. I just haven't really gotten too heavily into plastic swim baits fishing for bass. It's got a nice sharp hook. I mean, paint job's great. And of course, it's got a little screw option on it to help hold the bait in place. I like these. I mean, again, never mad at getting these. These are always pretty good. Okay, so next thing we have in here, we have the Divine spinner bait. And this is a 3/8 ounce. And it is in bone truce pearl. And I'm not going to take this out of packaging like usual. It looks nice. I haven't used any 6 cent spinner baits yet, but I'm sure the quality's there. I mean, it's 6 cents. And it does say it has a hand-tied skirt on it. And it also has a screw lock. Yeah, I'm definitely going to give this a try. I need to get back into spinnerbait fishing. I used to do it when I was younger, but just haven't really done it a whole lot. I don't know, probably in the last 5 to 10 years. But I need to pick this back up some more because I always like fishing with these. All right, next thing we have a pack of the Juggle Minnows, and they are in an exclusive color. I don't quite know what you would call this color. I do like the color. It's almost like a smoky pearl with a darker top. Almost black smoke, dark smoke or something. It's got a little bit of a pearlescence color to it, and then looks like every color you can think of when it comes to glitter. Again, that's the Juggle Minnow in the 6-sack exclusive color. Yeah, I like these a lot. They should also pair up really well with the swim bait jig heads too. So I like seeing the lure and the jig heads that go with it in the same sack. I always enjoy seeing the paired up stuff like this. All right, next thing we have here, we have a pack of the size 1 drop shot hooks. And there's 5 of those in there. And I've said before, I've never really fished drop shot. I need to do it. I know a lot of people really love it. I just need to get out and try it. I've always got my go-to things that I like to stick with, and just never venture out and try more. But I really need to. Again, really sharp hooks. Yeah, that's the drop shot hook in size 1. All right, if you've been a long-time subscriber, you know back when we hit 100 subscribers, did a giveaway. And I said at 500 subscribers, I was going to do another one. And I haven't forgotten about that. Still got this Mondo kit. When we hit 500 subscribers, we'll give this away, plus some other lures. At the time of filming this, I think we're at 12 more subscribers and would hit the mark. Tell everybody that you know that's interested in fishing to come subscribe so we can hit that mark and do this giveaway. This giveaway will be the biggest that I've done so far. Once we hit that 500 subscriber mark, I'll do a separate video going over everything that we're going to give away and what you have to do to enter to win. So make sure you get subscribed if you aren't already. And again, let everybody know that's interested in fishing know about this giveaway too. All right, so next thing we have in here is a pack of the Sketch 4.3 and Ghost Minnow. These are like soft plastic jerk baits. I'm actually not familiar with this particular lure. It might be something that's relatively new, but it's a kind of a translucent pearlescence color with looks like maybe a green back to it, and then just about every single color flake in it. Yeah, that looks good. I like that. That could actually, I would imagine, work well with the drop shot hooks, and maybe even as a trailer for the spinnerbait. But again, that's the Sketch 4.3 and Ghost Minnow. All right, next item, we have a pack of the Glitch 3.8 and an exclusive color. These are definitely drop shot lures. Yeah, these are absolutely designed to be used as a drop shot lure. It's actually an interesting color for 6 cents. I can't say that I've ever seen, or at least haven't gotten any of the Sacks, any pink colored lures from them. So that's actually pretty interesting. It looks nice. I can see this working. Again, I'm not super familiar with drop shot, but it looks like a great drop shot lure from what I have seen of them. But yeah, it's a pink soft plastic with definitely some gold and red and blue flake in there, and maybe some black. Yeah, I like that. Again, that is the Glitch 3.8 in the 6-Sack exclusive color. If you haven't looked at my links recently, I've actually teamed up with Free Fly Fishing and I've become an affiliate for them. They actually sent me a few items for me to test out. So they sent me this lightweight rain jacket. I haven't gotten a chance to test any of this stuff out yet, but from what I have messed with it, I've tried it on and stuff. I do really like it. And this is super lightweight, which is nice because sometimes you need just a little bit to keep it warm. They also sent me a sun hoodie. And these are like super soft. This is their Elevate lightweight hoodie. But I really like that they're real subtle with their branding. The only place that they have a logo on this particular sun shirt is down at the very bottom. And it's pretty subtle. So I kind of like that. It's not like real gaudy graphics or anything on it. But this is a super soft sun shirt. I've got a fishing trip planned in a couple weeks. So I'm hoping that the temperatures are good enough that I can actually wear this out in the water and test it out. Oh, they also sent me a pair of their men's breeze pants. And these are like super lightweight. You've got an elastic waistband with tie-offs. You got pockets, the rear pockets zippered on these. I think these will be great for days on the water when it's hot outside, but you want to keep your legs covered so you don't get burned. The last thing they sent me was a pair of their Palmero elastic board shorts. And these feel really nice. But again, I haven't gotten the chance to actually wear these out. But my next trip, I'm actually going to be camping with my friend Chris, which he's been on the channel quite a bit. It's actually been a little while, but I'm hoping to actually test some of this stuff out while we're out fishing and camping. We'll see how well it actually performs. Trying it on, it feels great. I'm super excited about working with this company. The materials just feel great. I want to at some point pick up their bamboo sun shirts because that's one of their big things. Anyway, if you're interested in this, if you want to go check the description, there's a link, and it's an affiliate link, so it'll help me out a little bit with no cost to you. But yeah, if you want to check it out, go check out that link and let them know I sent you. All right, and the last item in this sack is actually a trace. This is the fast sinking version in baby sunfish. All right, so I've purchased a few traces. I haven't gotten this particular version because I think everything I got was like slow sinking, and this was the fast sinking version. I like these. I haven't had a chance to fish them. I just haven't ever done it. It's something I want to get into, swim bait fishing, but I just haven't. I really like these. These are nice. Hooks sharp. Paint's great. Really not sure about the color of that tail, if it really goes with this particular one. I mean, I guess it makes sense. It kind of fades to a lighter color at the end. But yeah, I really like this. Getting these in the 6-Sack is always a big treat. I've gotten one other time, which is what prompted me to start buying a few of these. So I'm definitely going to have to take some time soon and give these a try. Again, that's the Trace and baby sunfish. I don't think I mentioned it before, but this is a 5-inch size. Yeah, I'm definitely happy with seeing this in there. To me, this by itself almost makes the sack worth it, just alone. I mean, these are $25 lures typically. But I know every once in a while you can catch them on sale for cheaper, but most of the time they're full price. Also, with that 500 subscriber giveaway, I'm going to throw this in the pot too. So whoever wins will get this plus the Gugamondo kit and all the other lures. All right, so what do you think about this month's 6-Sack? I really liked it. The Trace, to me, it's the value there just for that is almost worth the sack to me. Almost the whole cost of the sack is that one trace. So everything else is like bonus. Make sure you subscribe so we can get to the 500 subscriber mark and we can give away the Mondo kit, the other lures, and this trace. But yeah, if you enjoyed the video, make sure you give it a like. Let us know in the comments what you thought about the sack. And if you want to see more content like this in the future, make sure you're subscribed. Today, taking a look at the May 2025 6 cents 6 sack. Let's go ahead and dive in. So this month, it's actually something a little bit different. Got a black bag, but I don't know how well you can tell, but the stitching is actually like a light purple. And so are the strings. So that's different. I don't know if I've ever seen anything but white on the black sack. That's kind of cool. All right, so the first thing we've got here, we have an axle swinging swim jig. This is a 3/8 ounce weight, 6/0 hook, and it's in green pumpkin gill. Okay, so yeah, this is what I thought it was. Just the jig head, the hook's able to swing up and down here. I've heard some people say that these are really good. I haven't had a chance to use them yet, but definitely need to. As usual, it's 6 cents, so the paint job's excellent. Looks like it's a hand-tied skirt, it looks like. So that's nice to see. Yeah. I definitely want to give one of these a try. I've heard good things about them. But again, that's the axle swinging swim jig and green pumpkin gill. Yeah, we'll definitely have to give one of these a try. All right, so the next thing we've got here, we have a pack of their jugular hybrid hooks. It's a 5-pack, and these are the 3/0 size. But real need to pull those out, and they're always great hooks. All right, next thing we have is a pack of the Busa 6.5 shaky worms. And these are in Mamba Magic. Yeah, these look pretty nice. I could definitely see these ribs causing a lot of water displacement and giving it a little bit different action than other similar sized worms. And these ought to go pretty well with those jugular hybrid hooks too. So yeah, those are pretty nice. Again, that's the Busa 6.5 shaky worm and Mamba Magic. All right, next thing we've got in here, we have a pack of the Bongo 3.7s in green pumpkin. These look like they're pretty much just a, I don't know, kind of a crawl type imitation. So yeah, that's kind of what they are. Sort of like a crawl. I like that they have these kind of big, almost boots on the ends of each of the fins, flaps, whatever you want to call them. That ought to make them move quite a bit. Yeah, these seem pretty nice. Again, that's the Bongo 3.7 in green pumpkin. All right, so the next thing we've got in here, we have a Movement 80X, and this one is 5/8 ounce, and it dives 1 to 3 feet, and it's in black magic. I really like the black magic color from 6 cents. It's I don't know, it just looks good to me. I can't say that I've caught anything on them, but I just haven't really used them a whole lot. But, that's odd. The box says this thing dives 1 to 3 feet, but I don't know how it's going to show up. But on the bottom of it, it says it dives 2 to 3 feet. That's kind of interesting. I mean, I know that's not a huge difference in depth, but if you're only expecting it to dive a foot most of the time, but it's going to always dive to 2 feet, that could be a problem. But again, that's the Movement 80X in black magic. Other than that one discrepancy about the depth, I mean, this looks like a great lure. I definitely need to actually get on the water and give these a try. I just haven't used those crankbaits enough to really have a whole lot of confidence in them. Soft plastics just have always been my go-to, and they've usually produced for me. All right, so the next thing we have in here, we have a pack of the Shindig 3.2 and Grasshopper. I'm actually not familiar with this one. Okay, so it's kind of like almost like a little grub with a split tail on it. I like the color. It's kind of like a just slightly green, or almost I don't know, off-white on the bottom and just a little bit more green on top, with a bunch of different colors of flake in it. Just about any color you can think of is in here. I can see these working really well with like an ultralight rod and reel or something, because these are on the smaller side, so that'd be great for some like more of a finesse setup. But again, that's the Shindig 3.2 and Grasshopper. Okay, before we get to the last two items, if you haven't already, make sure you go and check out our 500 subscriber giveaway. Got about a week left before it's going to be the end of the entry period, and then right after that we'll announce who won. So make sure you go check it out and follow the instructions to get entered, and maybe you'll be the winner of this huge giveaway we're doing. All right, so the next thing we've got in here is the Aussie 4.0, and this is an exclusive color. Okay, so these are essentially little, I don't know, almost jerk bait, swim bait hybrids, because it's got a little like tail that can move back and forth, but instead of having the paddle tail, it has a little forked tail. It's kind of a little ball on the end of it, right where the fork is. That's interesting. The color ought to be great. I mean, it's pretty natural looking. But again, that's the Aussie 4.0 in the 6-sack exclusive color. Yeah, I'm definitely going to give these a try. I really like these. All right, last item. We have the Provoke 106X. This is a 1/2 ounce size, and it dives 3 to 6 feet, and it is in live shad. Okay, so yeah, I feel like I've gotten these a few times, but they're really nice. I really need to get out in the water and get accustomed to using jerk baits. I know they're supposed to work great, just don't ever use them. But as usual, great paint job, sticky hooks. Yeah, I mean, it's 6 cents. What else do you expect? But again, that's the Provoke 106X in live shad. All right, so what do you think about this month's sack? Thought it was pretty good. It was kind of weird that there was another Provoke in it. I feel like I've gotten the Provoke, I don't know, maybe after the last 7 or so sacks, I think I've gotten it at least twice, if not 3 times. I mean, it's a great lure, so I'm not like mad about that, but it's just kind of odd. That's been a really common lure. But anyway, yeah, let us know what you think down in the comments. If you're not subscribed already, make sure you subscribe so you can see more content like this in the future, and make sure you give the video a like. Today, we're taking a look at the May and June Bait School Banking Creek sack. Let's go ahead and dive in. All right, starting off, we have a Booyah Bait Company Micro Pond Magic. It's 1/8 ounce, and it is in pumpkin seed. As usual, I'm not going to take anything out of the packages when you have to tear the package. Looking at it, it looks pretty nice. I do think that color would probably work really well, especially for like crappie or even maybe some smaller bass. But yeah, it looks pretty nice. All right, the next thing we've got here, we have a pack of Rebel Hoppers. This is their Live Flex series, and they are in Summer Hopper. Okay, so yeah, this is kind of what I was thinking they were. They look like little crickets You get two of them that are already pre-rigged. And I think this color would actually work really well. I don't know that it's really a natural looking color for a cricket, but I think the color would work great. Again, that's the Rebel Hopper in Summer Hopper. All right, so the next thing we've got in here, we have a pack of the Rebel Catercrawler, and these are in Caterpillar. Okay, so yeah, this is pretty much just a caterpillar shape, and like this one you get two that are pre-rigged, and there's one extra hook in here too, or jig head actually. Oh, okay. So this live flex seems to be similar to like the Z-Man Elastec material. So it's really stretchy. Feels really durable too. Yeah, those are pretty cool. Again, that's the Rebel Catercrawler and Caterpillar. All right, the next thing we got here, we have a Hedden Torpedo, and this one's an ultralight, and it is in Bullfrog. I know these are supposed to be pretty classic lures. I don't think I've ever used one before. I know Hedden's a great brand, so I'm sure the hooks are great and everything. Yeah, I like that. All right, the next thing we have in here, we have a pack of Yum lizards, and they are in Copper Creek. Yeah, this is gonna be a pretty standard lizard. They're just normal soft plastic material. But yeah, I like that color. It's a little bit darker than most natural lizards around here, but I think it would probably work really well. Again, that's the Yum lizard in Copper Creek. All right, next thing we have a Rebel Bumblebug in Hornet. Yeah, that's pretty interesting. I don't think I've ever seen that lure before. It's kind of looks like it's just supposed to be a replica of a bee. So, I mean, that's a big bee, but I could definitely see that being something a fish would eat if it lands on the surface of the water. But yeah, I think that could work really well. Next thing, we have a Rebel Catercrawler, and it is in Caterpillar Worm. And this basically looks like a caterpillar. It's interesting they kind of go into a bug theme so far with everything. But that's interesting. I'm not really sure how you would fish this. It says it sinks and it's supposed to simulate a slowly sinking night crawler. Interesting. I mean, I could see that working, but it's kind of cool. Next thing, we have a Rebel Super Teeny Weir and Tennessee Shad. So this kind of looks just like a really tiny crankbait. It looks really good. I could definitely see this doing pretty well for some crappie and even some bass. And I would shoot, even some large bluegill I think would go after this. I really like that one. Next thing we have is a double pack of the Jean LaRue Tommy Biffle Signature Series Hardhead. These are 3/16 ounce and they're made with owner hooks. So it looks like just like a jig head with a swinging head on it. So yeah, yep, that's exactly what it is. It's a jig head that has a swinging head on it. So that's kind of cool. I can see these working with those lizards pretty well. And hook's pretty sharp, so I like those. Those can go really well with those lizards, I think. And the last lure we have in here is a Rebel Crick Hopper, and it's an Army cricket. It's kind of funny they call this a crick hopper because it's a grasshopper, not a cricket, but it's interesting. That almost looks like they took a picture of a grasshopper and then put it on here, like almost skinned it. I don't know how well it shows up. But it looks, that's what it looks like. It's not like painted, it's like almost like printed on here. I mean, other than being a little fuzzy, it looks realistic. Yeah, I can see that working for some bluegill or crappie or even some small bass. And then we have the normal things. We've got the card with QR code. Feel free to scan that if you'd like. And there's also a 15% off coupon on here. So first come, first serve on that. And we have a couple stickers. We have a Rebel sticker this time. And then we have standard Bank & Creek sticker. Yeah, so what'd you think about this sack? I thought it was pretty good. I guess the bug theme probably makes sense for May and June. It's when you're really starting to see a lot of bugs start to make their way out. But yeah, let us know in the comments what you thought about this video. And if you enjoyed it, make sure you give it a like. And if you don't want to miss content like this in the future, make sure you're subscribed. Today, we're going over the June 2025 6 cents six sack. Let's go ahead and dive in. Alrighty, let's get it in here. Alright, first thing, we have a pack of the jugular hybrid hooks. These are the 5/0 size, and there's 5 of those in there. Yeah, that's a jugular hybrid hook. That's the 5/0 size. It's always nice getting hooks. It's always a good thing if they throw the hooks in the sack to go with whatever you get in it. So I'm hoping there'll be something in here to go with these. All right, so the next thing we have a pack of the 4-inch well swim baits, and they are in gill flake. Yeah, these are pretty dense. Got decent action. I've gotten a few wells in the past, but I think they were bigger ones than these. These are a smaller size than I think I've seen before, but I like them. It's interesting that they've got those fins there. A lot of swim baits don't have the fins on the sides like that. But yeah, I think that's pretty good. Again, that's the 4-inch well swim bait and gill flake. All right, next thing we have in here, we have some treble head line through jig heads. I've actually never seen these. These are 1/4 ounce, and they have a screw lock system. I've actually never seen these before, so these are interesting. And it shows you on the back how you can rig them up. Yeah, these are kind of cool. Yes, those are interesting. I could potentially see these working with the wells, even though the wells kind of have like a built-in head to them though, so they might not fit the best on them, but I can see these working with them. Again, that's the treble head line through jig head. It'll be interesting to see how these work out. It does show that there's a treble hook that they intend for you to use. I personally prefer like inline hooks over trebles. I just feel like they're safer for me and the fish, but I can see these doing pretty well if you have the right application for them. But yeah, those are pretty cool. All right, next thing we have in here, we have a Divine Swim Jig. This is a 5/0 hook, and it's 3/8 ounce, and it is in shell cracker. It's a 6 cents jig. they're good. Sharp hooks. It's a real lightweight brush guard, but I still think it should be good and like cover that's not super heavy. Paint job's great. I like the color. It's yeah, bluegill brim, whatever you want to say. Pretty standard color. But yeah, I like that. Maybe you could use the wells as a trailer for this if you wanted to. That could be interesting. Again, that's the Divine Swim Jig in Shell Cracker. All right, so the next thing we have is a pack of treble harness heads. They are 1/4 ounce size, and it's basically like those jig heads, but they already have the treble hook built into them. Yeah, these are interesting. I get the idea of them. They show you how you can hook it up, where you can do the treble hook on the top or the bottom if you want to. But yeah, these are pretty interesting. I could see them working pretty decently though. Again, I'm not huge on treble hooks though, so it might be something I'll give a try, but it probably wouldn't be a go-to item for me. If you haven't seen it already, I've started working with Free Fly Apparel. They actually gave me a code for the month of July. If you use Jarrett15 on the Free Fly website, you can get 15% off your entire order. Of course, there are a few exclusions, and it's only good through the month of July, and it's a one-time use coupon. So once you use it one time, you can't use it again. We get a small commission anytime somebody buys something through one of our links. So if you want to help the channel out, that's a great way to do it and get some great apparel at the same time. But got a link down in the description, and don't forget code Jarrett15. All right, so next thing we have here, we have a Hush Frog. And this one is in bluegill. I don't think I've ever seen one of these before. I don't know if they're a new lure or I just haven't paid super close attention to their frog line recently. Because I'm familiar with the Vega frog, but not the Hush Frog. And on the back it does say Vega Hush Frog. But I'm not really sure why they call it a Hush Frog. I mean, there's no rattle in it, so maybe that's the difference. I don't know if the Vega has a rattle or not in it. It's a nice, soft frog. The body gets out of the way really well of the hooks. It's nice that they've got the leg portions pretty long, so if you want to trim them up, you have the option. Yeah, I like the color too. Granted, that's really all the fish is going to see, so it doesn't really make a huge difference on the top of the lure or the sides, but yeah, I like that. Again, that's the Hush Frog in bluegill. Real quick, if you haven't checked to see if you're the winner of my 500 subscriber giveaway, make sure you go back and check out the Bank & Creek unboxing for the May-June unboxing. And in that video description, you'll see if you won or not. If the winner doesn't come forward within a month of that video going live, I'm going to redraw. I want to make sure my loyal viewers actually get a chance to win something, not some random person that entered the giveaway, because it was a giveaway. All right, next thing we have here, we have a pack of Pecco's underspins, and these are 1/8 ounce size, and they're in Pro Minnow. If you watch some of the other unboxings, I'm not going to open this package because I would have to destroy the package to get them out. These look pretty nice. I don't know much about them. I've actually never seen this lure before. It looks like it's probably one of their maybe newer like panfish line lures, but I can see that being pretty good in like a creek or somewhere where there's a lot of panfish. And I mean, even some bass would probably go after that. It's probably big enough that a bass would hit that. Yeah, those, I want to give those a try. Those definitely could be, yeah, those could definitely be something good. All right. And the last thing we have the Panorama 5.0, and it is in live sunfish. I like these lures but I don't use forward-facing sonar, or right now really any kind of sonar. But I know these are more designed for forward-facing sonar. But I do like them. They look nice. Yeah, they feel really nice. They're super thin, which I'm sure has to do with it being for the forward-facing sonar. But I mean, they look really nice. I mean, rigging these things up, I guess the same way you would using forward-facing sonar, I bet these are amazing. Of course, won't have that advantage of the sonar, but I bet they would do great. But I do like these. I just don't know that I have a huge use for them. But again, that's the Panorama 5.0 in live sunfish. Yeah, I like these, but I just don't know that they're anything that I'm going to be able to really get much use out of. All right, so what do you think about this month's sack? Thought it was good. Panorama might not be the best thing for me, even though I do like the lure. The well's nice. I like that 4-inch size, and I really like the Pecos a lot. I definitely want to give those a try. But yeah, if you didn't check out the 500 subscriber giveaway, make sure you go check that out, see if you're the winner. If you want to get some great apparel at a discount and help support the channel, make sure you go check out the link below for free fly apparel. And if you enjoyed the video, make sure you give it a like. And if you want to see content like this in the future, make sure you're subscribed. Today, we're taking a look at the July 6 cents 6-sack. Let's go ahead and dive in. All right, so let's see here. Start off with, we have a pack of Shindo shads and wakasagi. And these appear to be soft plastic jerkbait. So yeah, that's exactly what they are. A little soft plastic jerkbait. And when I say little, I wouldn't really say they're little, but it's interesting. They've got this little portion here that looks like it's designed to cause the tail to flap a little more. It's a pretty realistic color. It also has purple flake in it, which I like. I have pretty good luck with purple. But yeah, those look pretty nice. I'm not a huge soft plastic jerkbait user, so it's not one of my go-tos, but these do look nice. Again, that's the Shindo Shad 6.0 and wakasagi. But yeah, I can see these working pretty well. They're just not usually one of my go-to lures. All right, so the next thing we have a pack of juggle lock heads. These are 3/16 ounce, and it's a 3-pack. So these are basically, so they work as a jig head, but you still have to have a separate hook. So hopefully the hooks are in the box. But yeah, that's how it works right there. I can see these working pretty well. They probably would actually work really well with those jerk baits, but it's not. This isn't a technique that I use very often, or really use much at all. So I don't know how much use I'll get out of these. Again, those are the juggle lock heads. They're in baby shad. Yeah, these look pretty nice. Again, it's just not a technique that I typically use, so I don't know that I would actually get much use out of these. All right, so the next thing we have in here, we have a pack of the Stroker Crawl 3.3 and Green Pumpkin Burst. And these look like they're pretty typical like crawfish imitations. Yeah, I like these. Classic green pumpkin with a little bit of gold flake on top of the normal black flake that comes in green pumpkin. Yeah, I can see these working really well. I know the Guggen Squad Bandito bug, as a similar lure, has been really productive for me. And then also the Deep Creek Junior Razor Beetle has been really productive for me too. And these are very similar lures to those. Yes, I like that. Again, that's the Stroker Crawl 3.3 and Green Pumpkin Burst. Yeah, I can see these working really well. I mean, it's usually one of my go-to types of lures anyway, Texas rig. So yeah, those will definitely get thrown. All right, next thing we have an axle finesse jig. This is a 1/2 ounce weight, and it is black and blue spice. Yeah, I've gotten a couple of these before. I've never used them, but I can see them being pretty useful. Yeah, so these are interesting. I like that they have this screw lock because it'll hold the bait in place really well. I've just never really used these. I can see them working great, but I just haven't taken the time to use them. I really need to though. So I might have to take this sack out sometime soon and see if I can get anything on one of these. But again, that's the Axle Finesse Jig in black and blue spice. Yeah, I'll have to give one of these a try soon because, I mean, it's got to work. I mean, it's a jig. Just a quick heads up, Free Fly Apparel is doing an end of summer sale right now. Starting today through August 11th, 2025, you can get up to 50% off select best-selling styles. Make sure you go use the link down below. It really helps out the channel. All right, so the next thing we have here, we have a pack of juggle shot hooks. And these are the 2/0 size, and you get 5 of them. And these would definitely be the hooks that go with those juggle lock heads. Again, that's the 2/0 juggle shot hooks. Yeah, I think with the juggle lock heads, these and those jerk baits would be a great combination. That might actually get me to try out these jerk baits. And I guess this is essentially a form of drop shotting. So kind of get me on 2 different things that I'm not used to doing. But yeah, this sack's looking more and more like something I'm going to take out in the water. All right, so the next thing we have here, we have a Conda, I'm not sure how they pronounce it, finesse swim jig, and it's in green pumpkin. See, this would go great with those stroker crawls. I mean, this is pretty much exactly how I've started fishing for bass most of the time, so this and those would be great together and ought to produce some fish. Again, that's the Conda finesse swim jig in green pumpkin. Yeah, I'm really liking so far this sack seems to have stuff to go together, which a lot of times they do, but this one really seemed to be well curated. All right, next thing we have a pack of Divine Shaky Worms. This is the 7-inch version in green pumpkin blue. Again, I'm not really super familiar with the shaky head lure setup or anything, but something like this I can definitely see working, even if you Texas rig. But yeah, this I can definitely see even a Texas rig with this working really well. But I do need to start trying some other techniques like shaky heads and stuff. I get stuck in my ways when I know I can catch fish a certain way, and I just don't branch out to other stuff. But I really need to start doing that. Again, that's the Divine Shaky Worm 7.0 in green pumpkin blue. But yeah, I'll definitely have to give these a try with a shaky head. And the last item in the sack is a Provoke 97X, and it is in bluegill spawn. So this is probably the first lure I'm kind of disappointed in seeing. Not that I don't like the lure. I just feel like every other sack has had a Provoke in it. They have at least been different colors. I'm just not a jerkbait user, so getting these just aren't that exciting to me. But yeah, as usual, the paint job's excellent. This one actually looks really good. I really like this paint job. I really, again, I need to try some new stuff. I really need to get out there with a jerkbait. Give it a shot. I just haven't really don't know if I just haven't fished the right places. The times that I have used them, I haven't gotten a single bite. So I'm kind of like, do I really want to waste my time with something that I don't have confidence in? This looks great. I can't say anything bad about it, to be honest. But again, that's the Provoke 97X in bluegill spawn. All right, so what do you think about the July sack? I thought overall it was pretty good. I like the fact that it had lures and hooks and jigs and stuff that actually all went together. So you could just take the sack out and go fish. Again, I'm disappointed in seeing the jerkbait just because I feel like I get one almost every other sack. And I'm not a huge jerkbait user anyway, so it's just a little bit disappointing. But anyway, let us know down in the comments what you think about this month's sack. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you give it a like. And if you want to see content like this in the future, make sure you're subscribed. Today, we're taking a look at the August 6 cents 6 sack. Let's go ahead and dive in. All right, let's see what we've got here. All right, first thing we have is a pack of Bounce Worm 3.0 in Milliken Smoke. So these must be a Ben Milliken color that he designed. Okay, so these are little worms, kind of with a bulbous end on the back of it. Should be great for Ned rigs. Doesn't really have any other information other than their, I guess the 3.0 means they're a 3-inch and there's 12 in the pack, which actually is, that's actually a pretty good number of lures in a pack like this. But it's a kind of semi-transparent, like smoke color plastic with, looks like just purple, no, maybe purple and black flake in there. I like those. Those ought to be pretty good. But again, that's the Bounce 3.0 in Milliken Smoke. I really like Ned rigging, so I think these will be right up my alley. All right, next thing we have a pack of drop shot hooks. They're size 1, and it's a 5 count. Again, that's a size 1 drop shot hook. I'm sure they're meant to go along with those bounce worms. That looks like it could be used as a drop shot lure pretty easily too. But that's not really a style of fishing I do a lot or really much at all. But I don't know. I'm getting some things out of these that I really want to try now. All right, next thing, we have a pack of Strobe 3.3 shakers. And they are in live minnow. Now, these are interesting. They almost look like they're printed in a way. See, these are almost like, it's like they're printed or painted on. They actually have like patterns like a fish would have on like scales and stuff, which is kind of crazy to see on a soft plastic. Be curious to see how long it lasts, because I bet it comes off relatively easily. It's interesting design. I wonder if these are meant to go with the drop shot hooks. I can see these going on that. But yeah, it's an interesting lure. I've never seen this one before. But again, that's the Strobe 3.3 in live minnow. Yeah, these are interesting. I'm gonna have to look these up and see exactly how you're supposed to fish these, because I've never seen anything like this before. But it's interesting. All right, so next thing we have in here, we have a pack of the Strobe 4.0 minnows in Olive Flash. So these are a little bit different. Even though they're still called Strobe. I guess, okay, these are the Strobe shakers. And these are Strobe minnows. See, these kind of have that same deal. I don't know how well it shows up, but like on the top especially, you can see like the scale pattern in it. It's pretty cool. I can't say I've ever seen another soft plastic that's, at least at this size, is printed like that. And this one actually has hard eyes on it too. I do like that though. I can see this working. Actually, it could work as a drop shot lure too. I can see this doing really well as a Ned rig lure too, which I'm sure they meant it as a drop shot, but these are pretty cool. But again, that's the Strobe Minnow 4.0 in olive flash. Yeah, these are interesting. I'm kind of interested in checking into how they meant for these to be used and giving those a trial. All right, so next thing we have in here, we have a pack of dome jig heads, and these are 1/8 ounce size 1 hook, and get 5 in the pack. Yeah, these are pretty simple jig heads. They have essentially a built-in nail weight style weight on them. Oh, I just realized this is stapled, so I'm not going to worry about opening these, but yeah, I can see this doing pretty well. I could even potentially work on that Strobe Minnow 4.0. All right, next thing we have in here, we have the Juggle Minnow, and it's in Ghost Pro Shad. These, I believe the juggles were new last year. But they're almost pretty similar to the Strobe shape-wise. There's a few differences, but it's a bait fish profile and everything. But these, I'm pretty sure these are meant to be used as these jig heads, though. But yeah, that's pretty nice. I mean, it is more of like a jerk bait style lure, which I'm not huge on soft plastic jerk baits, but still nice. I do like that color too. Looks pretty natural. But again, that's the Juggle Minnow 4.0 in Ghost Pro Shad. Yeah, I'll have to give these a try. I do like those, but it's just not usually the type of fishing I do, but I'll have to give them a try. All right, so the next thing we have in here, we have a Krube 3.0 in Magic Crawl. I don't know if I've seen these before. Yeah, those are interesting. It's like a crawfish with a ton of extra appendages. Is it a... Oh, okay, it's a tube bait. That makes more sense for it to have all these appendages on it. So it's a tube, but a crawfish imitation at the same time. It's interesting. I like it, but it's interesting. And it's like a green plastic with also a little bit of maybe like baby blue in it. And then some small red flake and larger black flake. Those would be interesting to use. I've never really been a tube person, but I've never really outright bought any myself. But because I've got some, I might have to give these a try. I really like these. But again, that's the Krube 3.0 and Magic Crawl. Yeah, I'm gonna have to give these a try too. I know a lot of people like tube fishing. I just haven't really ever done it. I don't really have a reason. Just haven't. But I'll have to give these a try though. All right, next thing we have a finesse jig, and it's a 7/16 ounce, and it's in green pumpkin orange. Okay, so yeah, it's a nice jig. Can Definitely tell it's finesse. There's a little bit lighter wire hook. The brush guard isn't quite as stiff. And it doesn't say it on the front, but on the back it actually says it's a ball head finesse jig. And it's definitely a ball head there. I like the color. It's very similar to some of the panfish around here. So I think this would be great with I don't know, even those crubs probably would work on here if they would stay on. But I can see those working together. I like that. Again, that's the finesse jig in green pumpkin orange. Yeah, I like these. Pretty much like all the jigs I get from 6 Cents. And somewhat over the last year or so, I've gotten so I really like jig fishing. It's like a crawfish imitation trailer or something like that. All right. Next thing we have a pack of ball drop shot lead. And these are just 1/4 ounce weights. And it's stapled shut, so I'm not going to pull it out of the package. But you can kind of see it's just a ball shaped weight with a line tie on it. Yeah, I mean, you should get the job done. Should go with those drop shot hooks and maybe one of these soft plastics, and I'll have a pretty good setup here. All right, the last thing we have in here is an Axis Metal 2.0, and it is in salty ice. These are interesting to me. The Axis design is pretty interesting. Yeah, that whole bill that's like swings back and forth. I guess it's meant to make a clattering noise in the water. But it's always been interesting, and the fact that it's metal. Yeah, it's nice looking. I like the color. And it looks like it has a few ball bearings in it. Yeah, it's not a super loud rattle, and it sounds like it's just one actually. Yeah, this is nice looking. But again, that's the Axis Metal 2.0 in salty ice. Yeah, this looks nice. I'll have to give this a try when I get a chance to go in the water. But I mean, we'll see how I can go wrong with it, really. All right, so what do you think about the August sack? I thought it was pretty good overall. Some things that I'm not used to using, but it might actually get me to try something different. But anyway, let us know what you thought down in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you give it a like. It really helps us out. And make sure to subscribe if you want to see content like this in the future. Today, we're taking a look at the October 2025 6 Cents 6-Sack. Let's go ahead and dive in. All right, let's see what we've got here. All right, first thing we have is the option 5.0. This is a top and bottom harness swim bait, and it's in color Live Gizzard. Can't say I've seen this lure before. So it looks like it's pretty nice soft plastic swim bait, and a large scale one too. Ought to be great for some larger size bass. Has some rod recommendations on here. It says medium, heavy, moderate, and they suggest 15 to 20 pound test. I'm assuming that would be mono, and 30 to 50 pound braid. But this is interesting. I'm not a huge fan of treble hooks, so I don't know how I feel about the treble hook being on the bottom. And I almost say it might be one of those that has the hidden hook in the top of it. I can't really tell, and I don't want to take it out of the packaging because this is definitely a package that will be hung up on my bait wall if I open it up. But I mean, it looks nice. Probably a little bit big for me, at least the ponds and stuff that I fish. I mean, there is that one bass that I caught. I mean, that it was close to 9 pounds. And I'll leave a link right here for that if you want to see it and you haven't. That fish absolutely would be able to eat this. Maybe the other fish that I caught in that video that was like a 3.5 pounder. That one probably could have eaten this too, but for the most part, the fish that I see around here, just this will be a lot for them to eat. But it looks nice. I can't fault them for it. I don't know, if I go back to that pond anytime soon, I might have to give this a try, because that might get me another large bass. Next thing we have in here, we have a pack of 1/16 ounce wacky weights, and they're just in black. And these are just wacky weights. They're a little bit different shape than I've seen before, which is interesting. I'm not really a wacky rig person, but I know people do like it. Yeah, that's the 1/6 ounce wacky weight in black. Yeah, I mean, I can see these working well. I mean, again, I'm not a wacky rig person, so it's a little bit beyond my knowledge of how you'd use it. Okay, so it gives you some instructions on the back here, which is nice, because I otherwise would have no idea how to use that. Yeah, I can see these working for somebody that uses wacky rigs. It's pretty nice. Next thing we have in here, we have a pack of the Bambusa 5.3 ribbed stick worm, and these are in Green Pumpkin Pro. I'm sure these are meant to go with those wacky weights. It's definitely a stick worm with a little, real thin tail on one end. Color's nice. I do like that it's like a green pumpkin and almost has like a little bit of a purple pearlescence to it. And definitely some green and black flake in it. But yeah, these are pretty nice. Again, it's not a setup that I normally use, but I definitely can see these working. I could even see them working, like, I don't know, as a Texas rig worm if you wanted to. Might be a little bit odd, but I could see it potentially working. But again, that's the Bambusa 5.3 ribbed stick worm in Green Pumpkin Pro. Yeah, I can see these working well with those wacky weights. Yeah, they're pretty nice, and I like that you get the worms and the weights to go along with them. All right, so the next thing we have in here, we have a pack of Busaned 3.3, and they are in Green Pumpkin Juice. So these look like they're kind of a Ned rig version of the Bambusas, that ribbed stick worm, and they look like a pretty standard green pumpkin color, but they also have like blue and red and gold and green flake in them. I'm a fan of Ned rigging, so I really would like to try these. I really hope there's some Ned rig weights or jigs in here to go with these, because that would be pretty awesome. These would definitely have to go in my tackle box next time I go fishing. Again, that's the Busaned 3.3 and Green Pumpkin Juice. Yeah, if there's some Ned weights in here, this is absolutely going in my tackle box with those weights. If not, it's probably still gonna go in my tackle box, and I'll just use a different brand like Z-Man or something. But yeah, I really like those. Again, I'm a huge Ned rig fan. All right, so the next thing we have in here, we have a pack of wacky hooks. These are 1/0 size, and there's 5 in a pack. Again, that's the wacky hooks and 1/0. And I'm glad they give you the worms, the weights, and the hooks, so you're ready to go out on the water. 6th Sense has been pretty good about at least combining a few things together just to be able to take the sack and get out in the water and fish with at least one type of fishing or style of fishing. And then, of course, some like, I don't know, like hard baits or something like that don't need anything extra, but they're ready to go. But yeah, I'm glad to see those in there. All right, so the next thing we have here, we have a pack of split ball weights, and these are the number 5, and you get 15 in a pack. and they are 3/32 of an ounce. So yeah, these are pretty standard lead split shot weights, but these have always been a staple in my tackle box, especially when it comes to like any kind of panfish fishing. I just always have them on hand with a cork and everything. Again, that's the split ball weights in 3/32 ounce. Yeah, these are always good to get. I don't use them as much anymore as I used to. I used to do a lot less bass specific fishing, more panfish, so these were always in my tackle box. They still are, I just don't use them nearly as much. But I mean, I like seeing these in here. I mean, these definitely would go well with some of the previous sacks, and then also I think the Halloween bundle, if you haven't seen that, I'll also link that right here. And there's some stuff that's potentially can go along with these. So that's kind of nice to see those. If you need to get some great apparel for your loved ones this upcoming holiday season, make sure you follow my link down below to Free Fly Apparel. They've got just about everything you need for outdoor wear. And anything you buy through the link helps support the channel at no cost to you. So check out the link below and get some great apparel for yourself or your loved ones for the upcoming holiday season. All right, next thing we have in here, we have a pack of the Panorama 3.5 swim bait. And these are pre-rigged, and they are in the live gizzard shad color. These are, I've gotten a few of these before, and these are like really nice. It's crazy. The paint and colorization on these, it looks like a fish. Yeah, that is just crazy how they do that. I wonder though, will it come off over time, or is it like embedded in the plastic? I mean, it'll stay in there and not come off the first time you get a bite. That would be amazing. But man, if I saw that laying on the ground at first glance, I absolutely think that was a real fish laying there. The color looks great. It looks like it has scales on it. It looks like it actually has some eyes on it. And they're not even the 3D like glued on eyes. Yeah, these are really nice. But again, that's the rigged Panorama swim bait 3.5 inch in live gizzard shad. Yeah, these look great. I'm definitely gonna have to give these a try next time I go out in the water. I think they're really good size. They're not too big, so just about any bass that I'm catching on a regular basis could definitely try to swallow this for a snack. All right, the last thing we have in here, we have a Scramble 106 topwater prop bait in Ghost Smoke. And that is something I've never seen before from 6th Sense. Yeah, this definitely looks like their version of a Whopper Plopper. Yeah, this is really nice. As much as I like the River to Seas Whopper Plopper, I think this beats it. Like the quality it's 6th Sense quality with a very similar design. I'm kind of surprised they can get away with it unless the patent's expired or something, because it's really similar. I know like the Guggen Squad version of it, they moved up the propeller portion up here, like in the middle of the body, so that it was different. But this is almost an exact replica. I mean, I'm sure there's some differences, but yeah, I like that a lot. I'll definitely have to give this a try. I haven't caught anything on a Whopper Plopper before. I really do enjoy throwing them. Again, that's the Scramble 106 topwater prop bait in Ghost Smoke. Yeah, this will definitely be going in my tackle box. I absolutely want to give these a try. It might be a great time right now to get on the water with these. because I think I've heard that the topwater bite's actually getting a little bit hot right now in the area. But yeah, this will definitely be going in my tackle box. All right, so what do you think about the October sack? I thought it was pretty good. I really like the scramble. The option was kind of cool, but I just feel like it's a little bit big for my area. And I always like seeing Ned Rig stuff. And that panorama, that, even though it's a 2-pack, I think that's probably my favorite thing in the sack this time. But anyway, let us know in the comments what you thought. Don't forget to go check out my link for Free Fly apparel to help support the channel, get some apparel for you or your loved ones. And if you enjoyed the video, make sure you give it a like. And if you want to see more content like this in the future, make sure you're subscribed. Today, we're taking a look at the 6th Sense Halloween bundle. Let's go ahead and dive in. Start off here. We have a pack of the Juggle Minnow. They're in Pumpkin Seed Sunfish. And these, I think, are a relatively new lure. I think came out about a year ago or so. But they're little soft plastic jerk baits. We've got a few of these over months of getting the 6-sack. But I don't think I've ever gotten this color before, but I do like it. It's real similar to a lot of like sunfish brim that are around here. So I think that could work really well. Again, that's the Juggle Minnow and Pumpkin Seed Sunfish. Yeah, I think these will work great here. Not really huge on soft plastic jerk baits, but I think this will be a really good color, so I might have to actually give this one a try. Next thing we have here, we have a pack of Bambusa 5.3 ribbed stickworms and merthiolate. These are definitely just a stickworm that has a ribbed texture to it. Ought to be great wacky rig worms. Not that I don't really fish that way, but I think they would probably be great for that purpose. It's an interesting color, which I know is a kind of popular color, but I feel like it's more of a, I don't know, maybe springtime fishing color. Probably good to throw these like on a bed in the spring and basically aggravate the mess out of a bass until they come take it off their bed. But they seem pretty nice. Again, that's the Bambusa 5.3 ribbed stickworm and merthiolate. Yeah, I mean, I could see these working pretty well, especially in the spring. All right, so the next thing we have here, we have a pack of Krube 3.0 and Bedfish Glow. Now, these are pretty similar color to that last lure, but they look like they have a little bit of a, I don't know, like a pink pearlescence to them. And I've gotten this particular lure before. I think one of the last 6-sacks that I got had this lure, and it's actually a crawfish imitation, but it's also a tube bait, which is interesting. But again, like the other, the Bambusa, this color I think will work great in the spring. But I get this is a Halloween themed bundle, so colors are kind of more Halloween, kind of spooky colors, so it makes sense for this being there. But again, that's the Krube 3.0 and Bedfish Glow. Yeah, I think this and the Bambusas, I'm gonna have to hold on to these until spring and give them a try. I think they'll work really well in the spring. Holiday season's coming up. If you want to get your loved ones and friends some great apparel, check out my link down in the description and go check out what Free Fly has to offer. Ribback Fleece Anoric Hoodie. This is a brand new item. If you use my link and use code Jarrett15, you'll get 15% off your total order. And anything you buy through my link also helps support the channel. All right, so the next thing we have in here, we have a pack of the Flush 5.2 soft jerk baits, and these are in Chartreuse Glow. I can't say I've ever seen this color before, but I do know they've started making some like panfish and crappie lures. So it makes sense that they've got this color available now. Yeah, I mean, these are nice. Again, it's a soft jerk bait. I'm just not really huge on jerk baits, but I could actually see this working in salt water. Usually my go-to lure for salt water is the Salt Strong Slim Shady, and that's like a white base plastic with silver and gold flakes in it. And a lot of times if that one's not working, my next go-to is a chartreuse base color. So I think this would work great in salt water. Again, that's the Flush 5.2 soft jerk bait in chartreuse glow. Yeah, this will definitely have to go with me next time I go saltwater fishing. I think these would work great in the saltwater. And I know soft plastic jerk baits are something great for saltwater fishing. I think this will do it. So I'll definitely have to give this one a try too. All right, so next thing we have here, we have a Vega frog and Black Magic. I'm not a huge frog fisher. I've tried them, just haven't really had any luck with them. I love a topwater bite, but about the only things I've ever had luck on are poppers, which this one is actually a popping frog, it looks like. But just haven't ever had luck with frogs. But nice soft body, nice sharp hooks, and the body gets out of the way pretty easily. I like that they've got the leg streamers long so that if you want to trim them, make them a little bit shorter, you can. And I mean, color wise, I like it. I mean, the fish is only going to really see what's on the bottom, so that's really all that matters. But I guess you'll see black and blue from the bottom. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty nice. I definitely need to get into frog fishing a little bit more. Again, that's the Vega frog and Black Magic. Yeah, this I really need to do some more frog fishing, especially like when it really starts to heat up with frogs in top water. All right, next thing we have here, we have a pack of clobber minnows, and these are in algae glow. I've actually never seen these lures. These definitely are some of their new bluegill or panfish and crappie lures. Yeah, these are interesting. They've got a real thin, almost like fin on the bottom of them. I don't know how well that really shows up, but it's interesting. But they're almost like little jerk baits with a real deep bottom fin. I like them though. I can see these working. And matter of fact, I've got a camping and fishing trip coming up real soon that these might work great. We'll be in the mountains, so trout, panfish, and I guess there could be some bass in the area, but I think these would probably work great for trout too. But again, that's the clobber minnow and algae glow. Yeah, I'm gonna have to take these with me on that trip because I think these would work. All right, so the next thing here, we have a pack of microfiction, and these are in black neon. And these are actually perfect for crappie and panfish, according to the packaging. These I could definitely see working great. Yeah, I think this color combination, I don't know, I almost feel like you can't beat that for a panfish lure. And I think these will work even better in the mountains on that camping trip. But yeah, those are definitely going in my tackle box too. Again, that's the microfiction in black neon. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to take these with me to the mountains. And speaking of that, if you're interested in seeing any camping content, let me know in the comments. I've been doing it occasionally with some of my fishing videos, but usually I don't put any footage from the camp trip necessarily that much in the videos. Just usually stick with the fishing. But if you want to see some stuff like that, let me know in the comments, and maybe we can start doing a little bit of that on the channel at some point. All right, so the last thing we have in the sack, we have a Thud 70, and this is a 1/2 ounce weight in pumpkin seed sunfish. These are pretty classic lures. This is usually the kind of lure that I go to when I'm using a hard bait. Of course, a lipless crankbait. But yeah, I really like the color. Again, like some of the soft plastics we opened at the beginning, I think this color will work the best probably in spring. But I still could see it working now too. It's I don't know, it's I guess close enough to some of the panfish that are around here that it wouldn't be that out of place right now, but I think it would probably really excel in the spring. But yeah, it seems like it has one nice size knocker in it. Let's see. Yep, definitely one knocker, which is where the Thud, I'm sure that name comes from. But yeah, this is really nice. So this will definitely have to go in my tackle box. Again, that's the Thud 70 and pumpkin seed sunfish. Yeah, this will have to go in my tackle box. I haven't really used many of the 6 cents crankbaits or lipless crankbaits, but they are nice. I need to start using those instead of just sticking with like I've always used the Bill Lewis lipless crankbaits. No reason except that that's just what I was used to. But I'll have to give this a try too. I almost forgot. You also get this sack, their gusseted bag with the bundle. I really like these. This is usually what I use for most of my soft plastics when I go on a fishing trip. I'd much rather see these than their like velvet sacks. I mean, I use the velvet sacks for things sometimes, but this gets a lot more use. But anyway, what'd you think about the Halloween bundle? Overall, I thought it was pretty good. I think they have it retailing for about $60, which I think's a little bit high for what you get here. As of filming this, it was on sale for just under $50, I believe. I think that's a little more reasonable, but maybe just a little bit more than I would like for something like this to see it being a bundle. But anyway, let us know down in the comments what you thought. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you give it a like. If you want to see more content like this in the future, make sure you're subscribed. Today, we're taking a look at something we haven't looked at in a long time on this channel. Mystery tackle box. Let's go ahead and dive in. All right, as you know, it's been a really long time since we've checked out mystery tackle box. You've probably seen my Guggen video. You can check it out here if you haven't. And kind of touch on some of the mystery tackle box stuff there. Yeah, they kind of didn't go away, but they kind of, I don't know, not really disappeared, but kind of went a little under the radar, I feel like. But apparently they've got a new improved box. They actually gave me an offer. All I had to do is pay shipping, so I decided to check it out again. We'll see if it's any good, and if it is, maybe we'll start unboxing it again on the channel. Let's go ahead and check it out. And this is the standard box. This is not the Pro, which is what I used to always get, but this was the offer they gave me for shipping costs, which I think was like $5 or something like that. So I figured $5 couldn't go wrong. All right, let's see here. So we've got this little card here, and it has a QR code on the back, so you can scan to see what's inside the box. So if you want to scan that and go along with me as I go through here, you can. I think this is pretty new. I feel like I might have seen this in 1 or 2 boxes right before I canceled my subscription previously. So that's interesting that it gives you like information on the items in the box. So that's kind of cool. So, as typical with Mystery Tackle Box, you always get a sticker, which this one's interesting. This is a bass box, but that is definitely a trout. But I guess freshwater, okay. So first item, we have a pack of spear point, just classic extra wide gap hook and the 3/0 size. But one of the things I don't like about Mystery Tackle Box is a 2-pack, a sample pack. That's one of the things I've always disliked about some of these subscription boxes. It can't save that much money to only give you 2 hooks where the pack might have normally had 6 or even 5. Really? I don't know. But let me pull one of these out here. Yeah, they're pretty. I mean, these are pretty nice hooks. I wasn't familiar with them until I started getting Mystery Tackle Boxes, or they started coming in them. But I've heard good things about them from people that I know that use them. I haven't had any issues with them. Sometimes I've used them, but I mean, it's a pretty sharp hook. But I mean, I'm not mad about the hook. I just wish it was a full-size pack. But again, that's a spear point, extra wide gap hook, and 3/0. Yeah, it's, again, I like the hooks, but a 2-pack, come on. It can't be that much of a difference in price. I mean, you're still paying for the packaging. At this point, I almost feel like packaging is just as much as the expense of putting 3 more hooks in there. All right, so the next thing we have in here, we have a 0 gravity jig. It's a slow fall, and I don't know what the color is, but it looks like it would probably be like a, I don't know, a bluegill or something like that. On the back it says this will fall 1 foot for every 3 seconds. Revolutionary lead-free jig head design, which is interesting because it's certainly not tungsten, because as big as that is, tungsten would be a lot heavier. Yeah, I mean, there's not a whole lot. I mean, it looks nice. I don't want to take it out of the packaging because I don't want to damage it, so I can't hang it up on my lure wall. But it is kind of cool that these are made by Catch Outdoors, which is based right here in North Carolina. I always like supporting local, so that's kind of cool. But if you want to see the info on the back of the card, there you go. Yeah, it looks nice. I mean, I would definitely give that a try at some point. Next thing we got in here, we have a pack of cream. These are jerk baits in Disco Violet. I've never really been a cream lure user. I know they've been around forever and they were like the lure for a long time. I can't say anything bad about these. They look nice. They oddly have no, well, I guess it's not that odd, but I feel like a lot of lures now have some sort of liquid scent on them or something, but these absolutely don't. They're dry. But they look nice. I mean, it's almost like a salt and pepper. What do they call the color? Disco Violet. Yeah, it's almost like a salt and pepper color with a little bit of like real small blue flake and then a blue, maybe even purple pearlescence to the white plastic. But I mean, these look nice. I mean, I'm not a soft plastic jerkbait user, but I mean, can't complain about these. Colors looks good. I mean, pretty universal color here. So, but yeah. But again, that's the cream jerkbait in Disco Violet. Yeah, I can't say anything bad about these. Again, I'm not a jerkbait user, so I can't really say if they would necessarily work that great, but they seem, I have no complaints about them. So, yeah, I mean, so far, not too shabby other than the hooks. All right, next thing we have in here, we have a pack of net bait 5-inch ions and watermelon candy. And these must have some sort of scent either in them or on them because they have that bait fuel. And let's see. Yeah, so it does have a bait scent in it, or as a part of it. Okay, so it's definitely in it because it's not wet. It definitely smells like it has something in it. It smells similar to Deep Creek Lures scent, but I think they have a little bit. I think Deep Creek Lures has a little bit stronger scent. But if you want to see me unbox some of their stuff, check out right here. I've done a couple of unboxings on the channel with their stuff. As a matter of fact, I caught my biggest bass on one of their lures, and you can check that out right here. But yeah, these are nice. They're stick baits, so going to be something like a wacky rig. So it's not something necessarily that I use. I know I should, but I do like the color though. The green with the purple and black flake, and looks like it does have some green flake in it too. But they feel nice. They've got a good scent. I would say I would give these a try. The only thing is having the right hooks and weights and everything for it, which I'm pretty sure I have, so that shouldn't be a problem. Again, that's the net bait 5-inch ion and watermelon candy. Yeah, these seem pretty nice. So they seem relatively durable too. So I'm not too disappointed so far. If you haven't checked it out already, go check out my link below and go grab some great outdoor apparel for either you or your loved ones for the upcoming holiday season. And anything you buy through my link helps support the channel, and we really appreciate it. All right, and the last thing in here, we have a Team Arc LP58 lipless crankbait in Ghost Minnow. I've definitely seen some Team Arc stuff before in definitely Mystery Tackle Box, and I think I've seen some in the Monster Bass unboxings too. Which, if you haven't seen any of those, here's a link to. It'll be my last Monster Bass, which it's been a while for those. And if you want to see me unbox Monster Bass again, let me know in the comments. I'm looking at trying to figure out some other stuff to unbox instead of just 6 cents. I know a lot of people like 6 cents, and I do too, but kind of gets old opening the same thing over and over again. All right, so this looks pretty nice. It's really heavy, which I think it did say, yeah, it's a sinking lipless crankbait. And it's 11/16 of an ounce, man. And yeah, it's definitely got some weight to it. Hooks seem pretty sharp, and it's got a lot of rattles in it. I can see them. I don't know how they show up on camera, but I can see them through the body. It's just slightly opaque, but it has a lot of rattles. Ow. But it has a lot of rattles in it. Yeah, they're pretty loud, so definitely is not a finesse lure, but it looks nice. I want to say this is probably one of my favorite arc lures I've seen. The paint job looks great. Hooks are nice and sharp. I don't feel like they're oversized, even though I'm not a huge fan of treble hooks. I prefer inline hooks, but some lures just seem to run better with treble hooks. So again, that's the Team Arc LP58 in Ghost Minnow. Yeah, this is definitely my favorite Arc or Team Arc lure I've seen. This might actually have to go in my tackle box. All right, so what do you think about the mystery tackle box? I wasn't disappointed. I still have some of the same gripes. The sample pack hooks. Stop. That's been a gripe of most people that I know of that unbox stuff. the cost savings can't be enough to really justify only giving somebody 2 hooks. But anyway, let us know in the comments what you think about the mystery tackle box. And if you think I should start unboxing mystery tackle box again on the channel, let me know down in the comments. And if you enjoyed the video, make sure you give it a like. And if you see more content like this in the future, make sure you're subscribed. Today, we're taking a look at the November 2025 6 cents 6-sack. Let's go ahead and dive in. All right, to start off, we've got another black sack with the light purple, almost, I don't know, maybe you would say lilac color here. This one's odd because it only has the one drawstring, but I mean, it's still pretty much cinch up. So it's not that big of a deal. All right, let's see. The first thing we got in here, we have a 6 cents koozie. Yeah, I mean, pretty sure everybody's familiar with a koozie. It's kind of nice to get one of those here and there. I mean, they get dirty, get worn out. Not too mad about that. All right, next thing we got in here, we have a pack of ox flipping hooks. This is the 3/0 size, and there's 5. Again, that's the ox flipping hook and 3/0. I've never really used these. I've gotten them a couple of times before, but I mean, nice hooks. I really appreciate that it's actually a full 5-piece pack here. If you saw my last unboxing video, I actually unboxed a Mr. Tackle box for the first time in months, if not a year, and they had the same problem that you used to always have with the hooks. They'll give you a 2-pack. I really don't understand why they don't just go ahead and put a full 5-pack in there. It can't be that much difference. But I always like seeing a full pack in these sacks or boxes. All right, next thing we've got in here, we have a pack of the Fiction Shad. So the 4.3-inch size, and it is in green shiner. This is something I have not seen before, I don't think. Okay. Well, so this is gonna be one of my first times I'm gonna say there's a big flaw in one of these lures that I've gotten. Just taking it out of the package, lost one of the eyes. And you see there's one on the other side, but the other's there, and it's still in the package. I'm sure I could probably glue this back on, but it's kind of disappointing when you pull it out of the package and the eye falls right off. And yeah, it's not staying on there, so it would definitely take some sort of adhesive. But it was actually like stuck to the package itself. It's like the glue was on the wrong side or something. Other than that, I mean, they look nice. Have a nice split in the dorsal fin for the hook to go through. But yeah, I mean, it's essentially just a little soft plastic swim bait, jerk bait hybrid, sort of. But they look nice though. Just that if the eye's coming off, it's going to be an every time thing. That's going to be a big problem with these for me. Again, that's the Fiction Shad in green shiner. Yeah, I like these, but the eyes kind of worry me. That first one I pull out, already coming off. They aren't going to last very long in the water. All right, so the next thing we have in here, we have a pack of the Judge 5.9-inch, and this is in green pumpkin juice. So I don't know if I've seen these before either. It's kind of nice seeing different things in the sack that I've never actually seen before. Okay. So yeah, these are pretty nice. These are, it's interesting. It's like a swim bait with a curly tail. And of course, it comes attached like this, and you just break it off so that the tail can swim free. But it's interesting. It's pretty big though, so it would definitely have to go in a place there's some larger bass. But yeah, I could see this doing pretty well. It's got the slot in the dorsal fin, a slot in the bottom, so you can hide your hooks and everything. But yeah, I like that. I can even see this working in saltwater. Maybe not particularly this color, but I could see this working in saltwater. Again, that's the Judge and Green Pumpkin Juice. Yeah, and just real quick, it's standard green pumpkin color, but it also has like gold, blue, red, and green flake. Maybe some silver mixed in there too. And then some black, like pumpkin, or green pumpkin usually does. Yeah, I like those. All right, so next thing we have in here, we have a pack of the Congo Crawl. This is a 3.8 inch size, and it's in Candy Brownie. I'm not sure if I've seen these. These seem a little familiar, but I don't know when I would have gotten them last. And it may be one of those things I've only gotten like one other sack, so it's just not as fresh in my brain. Okay. So yeah, this is pretty much a crawl imitation, but it has 4 different appendages on it. And again, it has little parts to break it apart so that the claws flap like they're supposed to. I mean, I like it. It ought to get a little more attention than just a standard crawl imitation because it's got the extra flaps on it. Yeah, I like that, and I like the color too. It's like a smoky brown color with some almost purple pearlescence and then some purple and gold and black flake in it. Yeah, I like that. Again, that's the Congo Crawl and Candy Brownie. Yeah, I can see these working great as a trailer or even Texas rigged by themselves. But yeah, I like that. These will definitely have to go in my tackle box. All right, next thing we have a Provoke 97X, and it's in Ghost Pro Shad. I've talked about these before. I like them. I'm not a huge jerkbait fan, or just I don't use them that much. They send these all the time. I feel like every other, or at least every third, there's a Provoke in it. I mean, not knocking the lure. I think it's a great lure, but it's just, I don't know, are they just not selling? Is that why they're sending them in almost every sack? Again, that's the Provoke 97X and Ghost Pro Shad. Yeah, it's, I don't know, they're nice lures, and I'm sure the people that use jerkbaits all the time love getting them, but it's just not a lure that I use enough to really justify getting it every like third sack. Again, I can't knock the lure. It's a good lure. But by the way, if you want to help out the channel, make sure you go check out Free Fly Apparel. I'll leave a link down in the description. If you use code Jarrett15, you can get 15% off your total order, and that code's good to the end of the year. And also, if you want to help out the channel in another way, you can go check out the NC Fishing store and get some NC Fishing merch. And right now, through the weekend, and that'll be December 7th, you can get 20% off your entire order. All right, last thing in this sack. We have a PD7 Pressure Series medium diving crankbait. I am not familiar with this lure. It's a slow float suspending lure. And it's also in Matte Ghostified. Yeah, I'm not really familiar with this one. This is definitely different packaging than they usually have used for their crankbaits. So maybe this is like a new packaging, or this is like some special pressure series. I guess it is a special series going on for some of the lures. So yeah, it's just a, I mean, it's a crankbait. Looks like it has one knocker. Yeah, I mean, I can't say anything bad about this. It looks nice. I'm not a huge crankbait user. I usually use lipless crankbaits when we use a crankbait. Looks nice, and the hooks are sharp. So this one dives 5 to 7 feet, and it's 3/8 of an ounce. I mean, I can't say anything bad about it, but it is a more matte color than most of their finishes, which is kind of cool looking, but I can't see anything bad about this one. Again, that's the PD7 Pressure Series in matte ghostified. Yeah, I mean, looks nice, but it's just not something I use a lot. Definitely use it more often than like a jerk bait, but they're still just not one of my go-tos. I'm more of a soft plastics person, so yeah, I mean, looks nice. I like it. All right, so what do you think about this month's sack? Overall, I thought it was pretty good. Again, I'm kind of tired of seeing the provoke in there, and I know that's probably not a popular opinion, but I like seeing lures that I haven't seen before, so, or at least rarely see. I'm not sure if any of these are like special, like pre-release stuff that haven't become available to the general public, but yeah, I thought it was pretty good. But anyway, let me know what you think down in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you give it a like, and if you want to see more content like this in the future, make sure you're subscribed. Today, we're taking a look at the 12 Days of Fishmas Advent Calendar from Mystery Tackle Box. Let's go ahead and dive in. Okay, so this is a much bigger Mystery Tackle Box Advent Calendar than in past. Still 12 items, but it's physically much bigger, as you can see here. So let's go ahead and get this thing open. All right, so this year, we've got each item in its own individual box. And we're going to start with 12, so it's worth counting down. So, package 12. We have a Fat Frog. This is the Snag Proof Pro Series, and it's in green pumpkin. Okay, so yeah, it's actually pretty nice, soft plastic, so the hooks get out of the way really well. Kind of natural color. I guess a real frog would probably be more white on the bottom than that, but it looks pretty nice. Hooks are decently sharp. I would like to see them a little bit sharper, but they're not terrible or anything. Again, that's the Snag Proof Pro Series Fat Frog and green pumpkin. Yeah, doesn't seem too bad. So I feel like we're off to a pretty good start so far. All right, so go with box number 11. And in here we have a pack of Z-Man Finesse TRDs and green pumpkin goby. I'm actually a really big fan of Ned rigging. I don't use TRDs that much. I typically go for more of a crawl imitation, but these are always still really nice. I do like the color. It's almost like it looks like a green pumpkin, but it's loaded down with gold and purple flake in addition to the black. Almost feels like it might have salt in it too. It doesn't say anything about salt being in it, but maybe it's just all the flake just makes it feel that way. But yeah, I like those a lot. I mean, Ned rig is one of my favorite ways to fish. But again, that's the Z-Man Finesse TRD and green pumpkin goby. Yeah, so far, I mean, I've only opened 2 items so far, but so far this is my favorite item. Okay, so box number 10. 10 right here. Here we have a pack of Spear Point Classic Extra Wide Gap hooks. And as usual, it's a 2-pack. I still can't fathom how this is saving them that much money. But it's still nice to have some hooks, so I'm not too mad about having those. All right, so box number 9. Here we have a Peacemaker Jig Series, and it doesn't specify what the... Oh, okay, it's the Pulse Swim Jig and Barfish. And I'm not going to take this out of the packaging just because I don't want to damage the package. So that way I can hang it up on my rack if I want to. I mean, it looks nice. I like the color. It looks pretty natural. It says it's designed by Bass Classic champion Cliff Pace. I like it. I mean, 3/8 ounce size. I think that's a pretty good weight for where I fish. It's not too heavy, but it's not too light either. But yeah, I like that. All right, box number 8. Well, this is the heaviest box so far. So I'm not sure what this is going to be. Okay. This is Maneater Trivia Fishing Expansion Pack. I noticed there was something about Maneater, a Maneater product in here, but I wasn't familiar with Maneater. I was assuming, I don't know, like a jerky brand or something. But apparently it's a trivia card game. But yeah, there we go. Too bad it's an expansion because without the base game, I don't know how I can play the game. But I mean, that's interesting. Okay, so you don't actually need the original game to play it. So you can play this just by itself. So that's nice. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of cool. I'll have to check this out. Who knows if it's really any fun or anything, but be interested to check it out. All right, so box number 7. Go. Okay, so this is actually one of my favorite Googan baits, the Bandito bug, and this was in Blue Baby, which happens to be my second favorite color. The only one I like better is their green pumpkin purple. But I always like these. I know people would like to rag on them and stuff, but I personally like these a lot better than a lot of the other similar lures. Again, that's the Googan Squad Bandito bug and Blue Baby. Like I said, this is one of definitely my favorite Googan bait, and if not my favorite crawl imitation lure, it's one of them. I'm never mad to see these in anything, so totally happy with that one. All right, so we've got box 6. And here we have a Lunker Hunt Crush. So their Impact series, and it's in Silver Side. And this is a popper. Okay. So yeah, this is, I mean, I think this is a pretty nice popper. The hooks are decently sharp. I definitely would like to see a little bit sharper hooks, but maybe in treble hooks, I guess it's not the end of the world. They're not super sharp. But yeah, I mean, paint job looks good. I like the color. And I like the feathering on the rear treble hook. But yeah, I think that looks pretty good. I know Lunker Hunt gets a lot of hate. I know they have a lot of gimmicky lures, but I feel like the standard stuff like this popper or something like that, they do pretty well. Again, that's the Lunker Hunt Crush in Silver Side. Yeah, I don't think that's too bad. Like I said, there's people that hate on Lunker Hunt all the time, but I think this is a pretty good lure. All right, so we've got box number 5. And what do we have in here? Okay, so this is the sticker from the box. Got a bass wearing a Santa hat and mystery tackle box. So yeah, that's pretty cool. I like seeing the exclusive stickers like that in these advent calendars. All right, and box number 4. We have a Team Arc CT 1.5 square bill crankbait, and it is in Sexy Cream Shad. Okay. So yeah, this is, I mean, pretty basic, like sexy shad color. These hooks are definitely sharper than the Lunker Hunt, which is nice. I mean, the paint job looks great. It's a square bill, which is probably my second favorite in the crankbait family. I usually gravitate more towards a lipless crankbait, but these were my next option. Yeah, I think this is pretty nice. Again, that's the Team Arc CT 1.5 square bill crankbait in sexy cream shad. Yeah, so far I'm not too disappointed. I mean, the 2-pack of hooks is still kind of like, but otherwise I'm pretty happy with so far. Alrighty, we got box number 3. And okay, so this is a pack of Team Arc accessories, and these are weight or bobber stops. So it looks like there's about 10 in a pack. I use these a little bit when I Texas rig, just kind of keep my bullet weight like pegged to the hook. So I mean, I'm not mad about seeing this, but it is definitely one of the cheapest items besides like the sticker and the 2-pack hooks. But these are always good to have, so I'm not like mad about that or anything. All right, and box number 2, we have a Lucky Strike spinnerbait. This is a Legends spinnerbait, and it's in sexy shad. I didn't realize Lucky Strike made spinnerbaits, but maybe they've started branching out. Okay. I do like how it's got the 2 separate blades, and I do like that there's different sizes and colors. That's nice. Hook's pretty sharp. Paint job looks pretty good too. I don't really have any complaints about this. I think it's a pretty good looking spinnerbait. Again, that's the Lucky Strike Legends spinnerbait in sexy shad. Yeah, I mean, I can't complain about this. I mean, it's a good looking spinnerbait. All right, and final box, box 1. And here we have a pack of net bait Pack-a-Slims. This is a 3.5 inch in Tilapia Magic. So these are another crawl imitation. I think I've gotten these in, was it the last mystery tackle box I opened? Maybe. I'll link it right here. I believe that's where I got a pack of these last, and they're not bad. I haven't had a chance to use it yet, but I do kind of like them. And the color is like a green pumpkin with, I don't know, almost a teal looking flake in it, and some purple and gold, and then the standard black and the green pumpkin. But I like the color though. Again, that's the net bait Pack-a-Slim in Tilapia Magic. Yeah, I mean, I like those. I definitely would throw those on a jig or something as a trailer, or even just Texas rig them. All right, so what did you think about the 2025 12 Days of Fishmas Advent Calendar for Mystery Tackle Box? Overall, I thought it was pretty good. There are some things like the hooks that, of course, I'm always disappointed in getting the sample pack. But I do like, and I know it's not going to be a popular opinion, but I do like getting the Bandito bugs. The card game is interesting. I'm going to definitely have to check that out. But, I mean, overall, I didn't think there was any, like, bad lures in here. Some, of course, a little better, in my opinion, than others. But anyway, let me know down in the comments what you thought. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you give it a like. And if you want to see more content like this in the future, make sure you're subscribed. Today, we're taking a look at the 6 Cents Holiday Stocking Bundle. Let's go ahead and dive in. Okay, so this is actually the Bundle C, which I believe last I looked was sold out. They did have A and B available still, I think. But let's go ahead and take a look at what's in here. All right, so the first thing we have in here, we have a 6th Sense koozie. And never mad at getting a new koozie. They get worn out pretty often. So first lure we have is a Panorama 3.5 swim bait in 4K shad. And I think I got these in one of the recent 6th Sense 6-sacks. And I think it was one of my favorite lures out of that sack. And I'll leave a link to that right here if you want to go check that out. These I remember liking these a lot. Yeah, so these are, the paint job's just crazy. This one does have a little bit of a flaw in the paint job, but it's not anything that's gonna matter. But you can see like right here, there's a little bit of a flaw in the paint job. But I mean, I don't think that would be too big of a deal. Overall, these are really nice. I really want to get these on the water. I just haven't had a chance to get out there yet. Again, that's the Panorama 3.5 swim bait in 4K shad. And again, this one of the whole pack has that one little flaw on the side there, but most of them look like that. But yeah, these I really like these. I'm not going to be mad at getting these pretty often in 6-sacks. So the next thing we have here, we actually have a small bait bag. So yeah, this is just their small zippered bait bag. I think I've got 1 or 2 of these that I've gotten in other bundles in the past, but I haven't really used them yet. I tend to use like a backpack or something, so I don't necessarily have a pack like this to carry around. Well, that was good. I like it, but that handle just ripped out just me trying to open this thing up. So that's not good. I might have to contact them and see if they can send a replacement, because that should not have happened. This isn't one of those like mystery bundles. You know what you're getting in it. So this is one of the draws to this bundle. So, and really the reason I picked this one over the other ones. But I mean, otherwise, I like the bag. It's got a little pocket on the front here. It's zippered. Other than that handle ripping out, I like this bag pretty well. If you share it here, I actually contacted 6th Sense and they are sending a replacement bag, so everything's all good. It does kind of suck that the first one had a problem, but they're making it good. So I always love that type of customer support. Next thing we have here, we have a pack of the Congo 3.8 crawl and Alabama crawl. I believe this is another one of those lures that I got recently for the first time, or I've only gotten a couple times because it was a little bit of a surprise to see it. I know this is a popular color, but I can't say that I've really had any success with this particular color. It doesn't mean it doesn't work. I just haven't had any success with it. I do like these. If you saw my mystery tackle box advent calendar unboxing, which is right here, it actually has my favorite crawl imitation lure in that advent calendar. And these are a little bit different because they have the extra appendage, or at least these are larger than most crawl imitation. I do like these. Again, that's the Congo 3.8 crawl and Alabama crawl. Yeah, I like these. I need to actually get these on the water at some point. All right, next thing we have in here, we have a Divine Swim Jig. It's a 1/4 ounce weight, and it is in Bluegill Magic. This is another one of the things that 6th Sense has gotten down pretty well, is their jigs. As usual, it's nice paint job, nice sharp hook. It definitely has a lighter weed guard on it. I mean, being a swim jig, that seems to be pretty common to have a lighter brush guard on there. But yeah, I mean, great paint job, sharp hook. I can't say anything bad about it. But again, that's the Divine Swim Jig in Bluegill Magic. Yeah, as usual, I like these a lot, so it's definitely gonna go in my tackle box. All right, so the next thing we have in here, we have a pack of the Bambusa ribbed stickworms in green pumpkin blue. And these are just pretty standard stickworm with a tapered tail, green pumpkin color with blue flake. Pretty simple, but should still be pretty effective. I'm sure these are mostly used wacky rigged. It's not really a style I use that much, if really any, I guess. Though I know I need to try it. And I keep saying that, and I know I keep saying it, but I do need to try it. I just don't get to get out there and fish as often as I like. So I tend to stick to the styles that I know have been successful for me in the past. Again, that's the Bambusa ribbed stickworm in green pumpkin blue. Yeah, I mean, these are nice. I've gotten these in at least the last couple sacks from 6 cents, but it's I'm not mad about getting more of these. All right, so the next thing we have in here, we have a pack of 6 cents treble head line through jig heads. I don't know if I've seen those before, or if I have, it's only been once or twice. But yeah, they intend for you to use a treble hook with it, and you feed the line through the head and tie the treble hook on it. Yeah, these are interesting. There's no paint on them, which is also a little bit interesting for it being a 6 cents product. So yeah, I mean, little jig head with a little hole through it, which I don't know how well that shows up on camera. And then a screw lock situation here. I mean, I can see these working. I don't know that I'd ever use them because I'm not really a fan of treble hooks. So I tend to use lures that don't use treble hooks. I usually go with inline hooks if I can. So I don't know that I would ever actually get any use out of these. But they look nice. They seem durable. But I can see some use case for them. It's just not the way I like to fish. But again, that's the treble head line through jig head. Yeah, this is, I just don't see that I would really ever necessarily use these. But who knows, maybe I'll want to try something different sometime and throw one on. All right, so the next thing we have in here, we have the Juggle Minnow and Ghost Minnow. These I've gotten somewhat recently, and I think even in this same color, but I really like this color. It's a pretty natural looking color with looks like maybe some really fine silver flake in it. There's definitely some like holographic flake in there, and some purple and gold and blue and green. It is a soft plastic jerkbait, which is not typically a lure that I use very often. But again, they look great, but I don't know. They're just not really something I would gravitate towards. I guess you could technically Ned rig this if you wanted to. I could see that potentially working. I don't know if the plastic floats. That might be the only issue with it. Again, that's the Juggle Minnow and Ghost Minnow. Yeah, these are nice, just not really style of fishing I like to do. All right, next item we have in here, we have a pack of the Krug 3.0 in green pumpkin. These are also interesting to me. I've gotten these at least a couple times in some 6 sacks recently, but they're an imitation crawl, but also a tube bait. I've never been a tube bait person, so I don't know how much use I would get out of these. They seem nice. This one actually has an appendage that's already broken, fresh out of the package. I don't know, I don't think it came off when I pulled it out, but that's interesting. I've had 3 different flaws in this one item. That's odd for 6 cents. Again, that's the Krug 3.0 in green pumpkin. Yeah, I mean, these are nice, just not my style of fishing again. I know tube fishing's really popular, and I think very much so up north. All right, next item. We have a pack of Shindig 3.2 and PB&J Pro. I don't know if I've seen this particular lure or not. If I have, it might have only been like once or so. Okay, so that's an interesting design. It's kind of like a, I don't know, a ribbed grub, but instead of having a curly tail like a lot of grubs do, it has a split, almost like ribbon tail with a little bitty flaps on there, or boots or whatever you want to call them, to catch water. I like the color. I like this lure itself. That would be, I think, a great Ned rig. Yeah, these are pretty nice. It's got just a hint of purple, like pearlescence to it, but it's like brown and kind of a translucent. Maybe that's where the pearl color is in it, the translucent part, because it doesn't look purple on the brown side. But yeah, I like that. Again, that's the Shindig 3.2 PB&J Pro. Yeah, these are gonna have to go in my Ned rig kit. I think these will work great as a Ned rig. And the next item we have here, we have a pack of the Jugular Hybrid hooks. It's a 5-pack and it's a 3/0 size. And again, that is a full pack of hooks, unlike what was in the Mystery Tackle Box Advent Calendar. So yeah, these are essentially, I don't know, similar to, I guess, a worm hook is what they would be the closest thing to. But yeah, I can't say anything bad about these. I mean, sharp hooks, good quality. Again, those are the Jugular Hybrid hooks and 3/0. Yeah, I'm always glad to see that they always use full-size packs and the 6 cent stuff. All right, and the last thing in the stocking is a 6-inch trace swim bait. And this is the suspending and slow sinking model, and it is in 4K bluegill. All right, let me get this out of the box real quick. Okay. So, yeah, this is probably what the biggest draw of this sack is, which is probably why it was sold out. But yeah, these things are just insane. I really need to get a good rod to be able to throw a swim bait like this. I want to get into using some, like, large swim baits like this, just to go for big fish and kind of rule out any of the smaller guys. But yeah, this is, quality's great, got great articulation. I like that they give you the spare tail so that if this one gets ripped off or damaged in any way, you've got a spare. And yeah, the paint job's great, hooks are sharp. Yeah, I can't say anything bad about this. This right here is like one of their most expensive lures, so it's nice getting it in a bundle like this. I don't feel like it's completely outrageous, but yeah, I like this one. Again, that's a 6-inch trace swim bait in 4K bluegill. Yeah, this and that bag that ripped were 2 of the reasons I wanted this particular version of the stocking. I need a rod that can handle it, so might be grabbing one right after Christmas here so I can get one of these on the water. Oh, and also one other thing, it did come in this large sack here. I think this is one of the biggest sacks I've ever seen from 6 cents. So you get the sack plus the stocking and all the lures and stuff inside. But anyway, what'd you think about the holiday stocking bundle? I thought overall it was good. I don't know if it was quite what the bundle cost. I think the regular price is $100. I think it was on sale for $88 when I bought it, maybe, or something like that. So I don't know. It's the trace by itself. I think it's like a $35 lure. That right there is almost half the value of the whole bundle. But anyway, let us know what you think down in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you give it a like. And if you want to see more content like this in the future, make sure you're subscribed. All right, let me know in the comments what you want to see me open this upcoming year. And if you enjoyed the video, make sure you give it a like. If you want to see more content like this in the future, make sure you're subscribed. We'll see you in the next one.